Name game. Name game.
Hello, everyone. Hello, and welcome to the Academic Foxhole. I am Trooper SJP, and I am happy to have you all here today. It is Thursday. It is Mac Game Thursday. We are playing a Mac game, which we are playing right now, The Long Dark, which we've been playing for a bit. But I have to tell you all things. I was not able to stream video games last week. And actually, I feel like it's been 1,000 years since I've streamed at all. So, and I'm going to let you know that I've got my chat right about here so I can check it out. Hey everyone, we've got so much to chat about before we start the game or while we start the game. Let me see. Yeah, so Steam decided it needed like multiple updates, which was exciting. And I was like, oh, multiple updates. Okay, cool. That's awesome. Yeah. Hi, Schmelzer. Hi, everybody. So let's see. Is that new lighting? This is actually not new lighting. This is the lighting I use when I do my RPG streams, which I use this camera and I put the lighting on. But I thought, you know what? I'm doing my regular video game streams and I don't normally do exciting lighting. I'm just going to use my exciting lighting for my video game streams as well. So I just set that up while I was getting ready. Oh, thanks. My lighting's not that cool. With all the not streaming, Krellin asks if I'm okay with all the not streaming, all the not chatting. I don't know. It is The Long Dark, but with mood lights, and I decided I'd go with blue since it's winter. Now, these are, you cannot see them because they're not currently visible, but I just have some basic LED lights on very, very flimsy stands that fall over very, very easily. And they are not high. You know, like there are. So do you remember the cool lighting strips that I had over when I was in Atlanta that worked really well because I was streaming. I had a loft bed, right? Like kind of like a loft bed. And so I was streaming and I was streaming here and my bed was above me, but I had the bed frame, right? The loft bed frame. So I could actually put the LED, like the really cool little strip of lights up on the frame, have it shine behind me. And that was really cool. I do not have in this setup a really good space for that, unfortunately. So I'm just using these sort of plain lights, but here's the thing. They are not high tech like my other lights. My other lights, I could just use a little app and put whatever light I want. With these, that is not the case at all. The blue suits the frigid temps. Oh, you've been having wind, rain, and hail? There is snow on the ground here in Massachusetts, is what I want to tell you. That is a thing that I'm going to let you know. So, Carla, sometimes I worry about what you're, we can talk about it. So, I couldn't put them on the ceiling. No, so first off, my ceilings in this place are very tall. They are clearly not 10-foot ceilings. They're probably 15 foot, is what I'm guessing, because they're quite tall. And the ceilings themselves are all sorts of particle board. It's not like a ceiling, it's those little particle tiles. Those little like tiles, that you get in like office buildings. There's no way I could actually get up there and then also put lights up there. So, Yeah, it's the drop ceiling. Yes, thank you, Barantor. I've got a story about drop floors that I will tell you in a moment. It was 74 degrees and then 34 degrees tomorrow morning. Why is this like this? At least I got my biking in before the snow. Yes. The thing about that is that I wanted to start up biking again. I was like, it's time for me to start. It's been a while, like I need to start biking again. I was like, maybe it's been so warm. Like we're already in February and it's not really snowed really. So I bet I could start next week. And then it started snowing. It only started snowing because I wanted to start biking again. That's why. So yeah, okay. So the lights that I have are super plain, and if I want to get color in them, I have to actually use gels. So I have my lights came with these little gels, and I'm gonna move this here so I can see this right. So like this is my blue gel. And it only has three. It has a blue gel, a red gel, and a yellow gel. That's it. That's all I got. So you've seen me with blue and red. I actually I think I made a green by putting in both the blue and the red together, and that worked out, I think, fairly decently. I tried to do a purple, and that didn't work out that well, unfortunately. I'm still, doing what I could do. Anyway, I thought I'd give you some exciting lighting for my video game streams as well. But, because, I just want you to have some joy. By the way, I'm going to be singing the name game shortly. I want you to know it. But I wanted to show you that. I have a bit of a show and tell. Let me see what you guys are talking about, what y'all are talking about. About 1.5 feet of snow here so far. Ooh. So what I'm hearing is it's time to start skiing instead. Maybe. So I have a show and tell for you. I wanted to show you something because I didn't, and I feel like you should probably know this, right? Well, you don't have to, but I thought I'd share anyway. I saw that Ella's getting a blizzard, which is what? Is it really? Ooh. By the way, I just did something to my shoulder. If I massage my shoulder, just ignore it. It's fine. What did I do to my shoulder? I don't know. I think I slept on it weird. That's what I think happened. Rissa is like, what'd you do to your shoulder? I was like, I think I slept on it weird. And so I'm just like needing to do a little bit of. Anyway, I have a show and tell. So as you may or may not know, maybe you don't know, that's fine. But 1,000 years ago, in the prehistoric age, I wrote this chapter for a book chapter. And this book chapter, I wrote it like it was a big, long ordeal. Let's see, Big Bear, mountain above LA, is getting 72 inches of snow. Whoa. Ooh. So look, I was invited to do a book chapter, and this was when I was still, like I hadn't even gotten tenure yet. It was still pretty early. It must have been like 2012, probably. 2012, something like that. And I said, no, I cannot do it because I've got to work on this other stuff. So I said no. There was like a deadline. The deadline was like in December. And I was like, yeah, I can't get this thing together by that time. So I said no. So then after the deadline passed, well, after everybody who should have gotten all their stuff in, I was contacted again. They said, hey, somebody dropped out. We have a spot. We'd really like you to put your chapter in this book. And I said, write a chapter in this book. And I was like, okay, I will. And so I was given a deadline and I worked really hard to get my thing in by the time that deadline hit, which I did, by the way. Please note, remember, I was asked to write this book chapter the second time after the deadline to turn in your chapters was already done, right? So theoretically, I should have been the last person to get my chapter in because I was asked later, right? So I turned it in, wrote it up. It was too big. They wanted shorter chapters, and my chapter was longer because I was trying to do something a bit more complicated. And I said, so this chapter is like much longer than you asked for. I'm going to send it to you, the long version, and I just want you to tell me what you want me to do about that. Like, would you like me to cut it in half? What would you like me to do? And if you have cuts, I would like you to suggest what you would like me to cut, because it kind of needs both halves. You just let me know what you want me to do. So I emailed it to them and they're like, you know what? We talked to the publisher. We want the full thing. You don't have to cut it. I was like, great. So I needed that thing to be in so I could have it ready for tenure, all that business. And it just came out. They put it online a while ago, but the actual physical book just came out like in November or December. So it took like 10 years for this thing to come out, like maybe, 8 years for this thing to come out in person. I finished my stuff a long time ago. Anyway, I finally might come out like a little bit earlier than December, November, but it also took them a long time to get me the hard copy. I was like, can I have the hard copy? And they were like, sure. I was like, it did not arrive. And they're like, didn't it? I was like, it did not. Finally, I got it. And I thought I'd show it to you because I don't think I've done that yet. So here is the Oxford Handbook of Music and Queerness, which is a beefy academic book that I have a chapter in. And it has got a bunch of like big scholars. The back says, explores ways that music and queerness interact to create unique meanings, includes perspectives on music making from many times and places, innovative queer research and interpretation take exciting new directions. That's all it says in the back. But ta-da, look at that. There you go. Here's a book that I actually am for real in, not for fake, but for true. And it is something that like people have been citing it, and I will say that I made this like kind of complicated chart in there, like a
Name
table, like a
game.
very cool table. Made a very cool table, and I formatted it so that it would fit on one page because I did not want this table to be spread apart, to be spread to multiple pages. And I gave them I made the table. It was very pretty because they wanted the table in PDF format so that they could just use it without having to reformat anything. And so I gave it to them. And guess what? I look at the book and they reformatted it, the table, and they reformatted it so that it ends up being on 2 pages, which I didn't want. I very specifically did not want this table on 2 pages. Anyway, that's my chapter. I thought I'd share that with you. Let's see. I'm here driving in for a few minutes, but lurking and listening. We'll be here completely once driving is finished. Thank you, Atomica. Welcome in. By the way, I'm going to do a giveaway today. I'm going to do Automa Chef, which is an indie simulator. Just don't let me forget. Like somewhere around 8-ish, like 8-ish probably. So I finally have this physical copy. The subtle bitch, wait your turn megaphone move is appreciated. No, gonna make my megaphone. So now I can be one of the professors that assign their own work. So here's the thing. I want to say something about that. Because I was okay. So hold on. So first, here's my book. Woo! Don't let me forget assigning your own work. I'm gonna get there for a second. Give me a moment. To give you some titles. Hey, Lone Ku, how are you? What chapter is yours? I might have missed it. Oh, I haven't said actually, Aladdin. Uh, you're like you did not miss it. You were being very astute. I want to read you a couple of chapter titles that are not mine. Um, so there's some good ones in here. Like let's see, the Gospel According to the Gays, queering the roots of gospel music. Um, Gay Country, Transamericana, and Queer Sincerity. Queer Hip Hop, a brief historiography. Let's see, operatic adaptations and the representation of non-normative sexualities. Let's see, karaoke, queer theory, queer performance, dedicated to Jose Esteban Munoz, who died. He was a very good scholar. This is I love this scholar. She's very good. Queer audiovisual creativity, fan created music videos from Star Trek to Bad Girls. She's Australian and she's been doing a lot of work on basically like fan made videos in YouTube and how they do music and stuff like that, like very stanny sorts of things. Let's see what else do we have. We have what's a good one? Um, Queering Brighton, about the city of Brighton. We've got Endangered Tenderness, Schubert, Chopin, and Schumann. Some good classical music in there. Uh, this chapter, I'm not going to say the title of, but I gave it a very, very, very intense critique because it needed to read its stuff. But Queer Times, an introduction to a queer perspective on Afrofuturism, and reading of Sun Ra's Space is the Place. That's a. What else do we have that's really interesting? Oh, the queer history of the castrato. That's a very good scholar. Queering middle class gender in 19th century U.S. theater. Um, oh, queer patriotism in the Eurovision Song Contest. That's exciting. What else is really good in here? Non-ordinary gender and sexuality in Indonesian performance. Out in the undercurrents, queer politics in Hong Kong popular music. Oh, that's written by somebody I'm surprised. I know somebody who does that, but they did not write that. Um, How to Do Things with Theory, Cultural Transcription, Queerness, and Ukrainian Pop Music. So that's like a bunch of the chapters in here. Look, it's very academic. So if you're interested in very academic queer music stuff, this is an interesting volume. But I would recommend not buying it, but going to a library that has it because these things are a bit pricey because academic books don't tend to be bought by people. They tend to be bought by libraries is what happens. Yes. So what all have to say? All right. Alan Insane, my chapter is, let me give you the official title for it because I don't want to give you the wrong, I want to get it absolutely correct. My chapter title is Transgender Passing Guides and the Vocal Performance of Gender and Sexuality. So my chapter is, by the way, can I just tell you, I wrote this chapter again, like 10 years ago. And it was really like the first of its kind, and really nothing else has really been done like it. And it was this like super important chapter that people knew about, and people published work that was based on my work, but my work came out after theirs, which is a bit irritating. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit irritating. Makes me seem like I just did this last week, but I've been doing this for a long time. Anyhow, the chapter itself is about, you know what we should do? We're going to do that just so people know that we're playing. So that, oh, you know what? I'm going to sing right now, and then I'll tell you. Was there anything else I wanted to say? I wanted to say something else. What was it? Said about the giveaway. I'm going to top my chapter. Sing. Play. You know. We've got some name games. Oh, yes. Thank you, Rissa. Thank you. Teaching your own work. This is really important because I need to say, look, do not let me forget about teaching your own work. It's really, really important. I want to talk, don't let me forget Reddit, and then teaching your own work. It's really important. I need to say this. It's very important. It's great. I'm a trans guy and I like to sing a lot, not here often. It seems to be good timing. Yes, it is good timing. I specialize in trans vocality, so I've got lots of things to say about it. It's very like I got things to say. Speaking of which, I think that I'm going to right now finally do it. Also, Aladdin Sane, welcome in. And if you've not joined my Discord, you totally should. Although you don't have to, because I'm not the boss of you. You can do whatever you want, but you should totally join my Discord. Also, I'm finally cutting off this label because it makes the the megaphone look less exciting. So I don't use the megaphone for the name game. What am I even thinking about? The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name, I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F, or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fan, or info. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Krellin, 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 Bobellin, Banana, Fana, Fofelin, Fee, Fi, Mo, Melon. Krellin, Rissa, 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 Bobissa, Banana, Fana, Fofissa, Fee, Fi, Mo, Missa. Rissa, Atomica, 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 Banana, Fana, Atomica, Fee, Fi, Mo, Atomica. Atomica, the name game. Yay! Thank you all for the resubs. Thank you, thank you. Yay! That was nice. Aw. Okay, look, see, here we are, officially playing the game. It's all official. Cut off a label, but now you can't return it. No, but the thing is, this label is not particularly interesting. It doesn't have anything really good in there. It's just got a disclaimer that says, although we work hard to always maintain our tones exactly the same, it is possible that some may vary slightly. That's just not an interesting label. I didn't need to have it. It could have been gone a long time ago, and now it is. There you go. It's not official to actually click on resume. Okay, no, but I'm totally clicking on resume right now so that we can, officially play the game and then also talk a whole lot about stuff. I have many things to talk to you about. First off, let me see how I don't think you're getting sound. Okay, give me a second. No. Give me a second. You're not getting sound, and I want to make sure you are. I just need to route sound to Motu Loop 45, which it is. Hold on, let me see. You should be seeing it. You should be hearing it. Let me vibe. I see what it is. Don't worry, I got it. There's more than one The Long Dark being listed, and it looks like a second one is listed than what should be. So let's see. Let me unfavorite that, favorite this, and then redirect. And that should actually do it. Let's see. Let us see. We got it, except that I need nothing. I'm good. That's it. If we are, so the sound is here. I feel like you should have sound. Let me know if you like your volume. If the volume works for you. If it doesn't, we can chat about it. Also, we're playing The Long Dark. We don't have water. And we don't... Do we have food? Oh. Okay, so hold on. So I thought that when we started the game, we'd be in like the most perfect position ever because we'd have like water, we'd have food, everything would be good. Life is great because we got through the terribleness that was the last session where we were stuck in a ravine in a blizzard and we're all about to die. But as it turns out, we have no food and we have almost no water. So we're not in as good a position as I remembered. But we just need to build a fire and cook some water. But I don't think I want to build a fire. I should build a fire and cook water here, because if I do that, then I can, because I'm kind of parched. Not me, although, here. I'm sort of parched. The character, Mackenzie, is sort of parched and sort of hungry. But this stove we have has only one burner. But also, it sounds like there's a blizzard going on outside. So I feel like going outside right now would not be the best idea. So maybe we just build a fire right here in this little room, cook water so we have something to drink. And that's probably the, and then we go off into the wild to try to find food that way. This is my thought. Yes, you put everything in lockers. I did. I put lots of things in lockers, but I don't think I have food. What we're gonna do though is we're gonna start the fire here. I mean, we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. Let's see what we can do here. I think we can probably do that. DSP started the fire. Okay, so do I have enough kindling to start? Like, I hope I do. I don't know if I have enough fire starting stuff. It's a good question. But I had two things to talk about.
Why didn't that work?
I don't know why it didn't work. I had oh gosh. Well, okay. That's not great. Well, here we go. Work. When you say we didn't start fire, I say, okay, boomer. So I want to talk about assigning your own work, and then also what I did in my chapter. So my chapter, for those who might be interested, is about how do we understand what gender or sexuality somebody has based on their voice. That's basically what it's about. Also, I'm going to be running out of everything. It's not great, everyone. Let's cook some water, and let's cook as much as we can. Fuel. This is all I got. It's not great. It's not great at all. Let's pass time until it's ready, and let's hope that... Well, we'll pass time. No! I did not mean to do that. Oh gosh. I just drank a bunch of unsafe water. Everyone, I just drank unsafe water. I did not mean to drink unsafe water.
Like a horse.
Yeah, calm down. Calm down. That was not my intention. I did not intend to drink unsafe water. So let me just note that for the record. How much unsafe water do I have? Like, where am I at right now? Okay, I've got a bunch of unsafe water. Right. Got a bunch of unsafe water, everybody. I'm gonna kind of let that be a thing. I'm also going to, I think, just see if there's anything I can drop off into the lockers, and then we're gonna go out there. But also, y'all are saying stuff. I don't know why he drank the water. Perhaps he'll die. I knew an old lady who swallowed a fly once, actually. Dysentery. I think I didn't have a lot of unsafe water, so I feel like I'm probably okay, except for the lack of food and water, which is no good, and I need more socks. And it would be great to have some accessories, but, you know, it's, and I have no cloth. You know what? I don't have a lot of stuff, everyone. Just thought I'd share that with you. And yeah. Okay, well, Oh, hold on. Hey, I'm underweight, everybody. I am underweight at this moment. I thought I should let you know that I'm currently not encumbered, and I hope that you are proud of me. And, wait, do I have a flare gun on me? Because if I don't have a flare gun on me, which I don't think I do. I don't. Since I don't have a flare gun on me, I'm going to put those flares in this locker since I cannot use them. Anyway. Oh, by the way, I have this alpha filter. Just let me know. I just turned it off. Let me know if that's fine. If you want me to turn it back on, I can also do that. If it's too dark, you just let me know. Right? Like, just let me know what works better for you all. How can a sprain risk no stuff? I no longer have it. Oh, and earlier and pending topic about teaching or materials remind me of something fun with that dichotomy of my two textbooks. You should tell me. So by chapter, you reminded me. My chapter is about. You didn't say anything. All right, so let me see. I'm gonna just see if I can dump. I'm gonna dump these flares. They're not actually all that heavy, but I will transfer them. See if there's anything else that should probably go. A lot of this stuff I think I should keep, to be honest. But I have used the bow and arrow, so that's fine. All that stuff is stuff I should be wearing. I've got a whetstone, which I should probably keep. I don't actually think there's much more. Yeah, I think I'm keeping all this. I'm underweight. I'm feeling good. We're going to go out there and hope. Let's save. Let's save. Let's save. Because, again, I don't know, and I'm concerned. Let's see. Your communications book costs 3 digits, is super corporate. My teacher is super stiff and due to online course. She seems very distant and a cookie cutter. Oh, interesting. I have some thoughts that I'm going to share with you after you tell me stuff. This is a bunch of pelts and stuff that I don't need to take with me. I do not have enough fire materials. Actually, I think I have none. So we are going to break up this chair so that it will at least give us some fire stuff. Your English class, however, was free, very relaxed but informational writing. The teacher is warm and interesting, and the introduction of the textbook is basically a huge middle finger to charging for textbooks, especially ones like the Com book. Oh, interesting. So here we get into kind of some interesting stuff, right? Some interesting challenges. And that is, we're in a space where a lot of people don't think they should have to pay for things, for people's labor, right? Like, why should I have to pay for a textbook? So if you don't pay for the textbook, that means that a bunch of labor and production will just be unpaid, right? And also that some people will have to take a loss in the end, right? Because it costs money to print a textbook. Like there's printing presses and paper and ink. Like there's stuff involved, right? By the way, we have no food. Gonna note it. You know what? I am going to drink. Oh, hey, look, there's a wolf right over there. Excuse me. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Okay. Oh, didn't. Ooh, come here. No, I wanted to kill you. Excuse me. I feel like I should probably be using the pistol rather than the rifle when they get this close. Anyway, so we're kind of in this space where people think it's very awesome and rebellious not to pay people for their labor. And I don't have many bullets left, everybody. I don't have many bullets left. Gonna share that with you right now. We are going to take everything from this wolf. We're gonna harvest it, and then we're gonna go back and. I know.
Time to look for shelter.
Where are we? What's going on?
This pack is getting too heavy to carry.
Yeah, I know that. We're gonna go back where we came from, and we're gonna cook that meat. Gosh. And we are still not gonna have enough water, but I think I have enough
Gotta eat
to...
soon.
I know, to start the fire at least, so, you know, work with me. Let's see. Oh, I'm still paying for the class. The book's vibe is pretty much you're paying for the course. Why the F should we charge you for the book for the course? I don't think there's a space where people think it's cool not to pay people for labor. There's a space where they think it's cool not to pay companies for the products of that labor, and they assume was already paid for by the company. Yeah, and I think that's like one of the tricky things, and it's sort of expanded. Like people are like, why should I pay for music? People don't want to pay for things, but they want the things. Also, I don't even know where I am. This is a real problem, everyone. I don't know where I am, and there are wolves. I think I'm going the right way. Right? So the problem is people don't want to pay people for stuff, right? And they're like, well, this is a company, so I shouldn't have to pay them. But the problem is, that means the people who work for companies don't get paid either, and then they can't pay their rent, and they don't get to eat, right? And we're kind of in a spot where it is sort of seen as virtuous not to pay for things. And, you know, if we had a... If we all had basic universal income, and so that nobody needed to get paid for their labor, I suppose that would be totally fine. But it's tricky, right? Because here's the thing: the people who don't want to pay for stuff also want to get paid, right? So you have a situation where people are like, "I want to buy these products, and I want to get paid." Well, I want the products, and I want to get paid in my life. I just don't want to actually have to pay for the products, which, you know, can be kind of awkward. Let's cook this meat, shall we? Because we're kind of in... this is sort of awkward and terrible because this meat is... what's the word? Take it, and now let me take this cooking pot and put the water in there, and I've got some water that should be boiled. How much time do we have here in the stove? Oh, 25 minutes, not great. I can add more fuel. Okay, there we go. So there we go. I'll just take this. I'll take my cooking pot. I might be able to cook, probably not. Cook. Everything's gonna take too long to cook. Dang it. Let me just, drink some water. We're gonna take care of this situation we're in right now, because the stove has got like 6 minutes. I'm gonna pick up this cooking pot slot. It's not great. It's not great at all. But let's eat, shall we? Let's eat our wolf cooked meat. Also, a lot of that I don't want to pay for things since the fact that they are also not pay for things because wages have been too effing low for my entire lifetime. Yeah, but the thing is, they're getting paid. They're just not getting paid well. Do you know what I mean? And what ends up happening is that, like, yeah. I also will note that people I know who are kind of poor also pay for things. So that's like, oops, sorry. Potbelly stove. Y'all, it is so dark. I cannot see anything. Like, most people I know in college who complain about having to pay for things because I go to a very rich school, they all have money. And, you know, it's just an interesting situation. And I'm going to have to destroy this table, I think. Maybe. Perhaps. Let's see. No, I cannot destroy this table. It's like nighttime, right? There's a shelf. I could break that down. Yeah. Here, what we're gonna do, unfortunately, is we're gonna go to sleep. We're not particularly tired, but it is dark and bad out there. The only problem with sleeping, and here's the thing, we're gonna get, when we wake up, we're gonna be exhausted and hungry. And, but it's, oh man, this is, uh, uh, I don't know. It's gonna be a bit of a tricky wicket. Can I? There we go. Right there. We're gonna sleep for, I don't know, 6 hours. Hopefully, when we wake up, it'll not be so dark out. I hope. Yeah. Let's see. I worked at Krells. I worked tech support at a nuclear research. Give me a second. Here. There we go. I worked tech support at a nuclear research facility where I needed to qualify for a secret clearance just to be able to go in the door. I only made $18 an hour. Yeah, which is twice the federal minimum wage, which is because our minimum wage is way low. It's kind of embarrassing. I had a top secret SCI, Special Compartmentalized Information Security Clearance, and they were going to pay me $25,000 a year, $27,000 a year to start. And I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I think there's a difference between paying a maid's fee at a hotel and getting a $20 surcharge for a pillow mint service. There's a ton of charges these days that are just legalese. Thomas says, I'm going to a community college and I'm broke. I just think it's weird to pay for a course and not be provided with a tool for said course. And Crone says, okay, well, yes, rich people don't pay for things, especially not labor. That's how they became rich people. Well, that's also true. Like, put in the price up front. If the $600 course actually costs $800, let me know. Well, the thing is, so here's one of the things that's tricky about that. The cost for the course is charged by the institution. What books are in the course is decided by the professor, right? So, and that's not on the now, I will say that we are asked to put in our book list early so that students can see how much the books will cost before they enroll in the class. So if you want to take a chemistry course and there's an expensive textbook and you don't want to pay for it, then you can not take that class, or you can get the textbook used, or you can see if it's on reserve in the library, or you can get it other means depending on what the situation is, you know? Yeah, I didn't know what book I needed till the first day of class. Yeah, and that's the thing, that should be in your, well, at least at my school, they ask us to put in what books we want to have people buy ahead of time so students can look, and they can look on our,
I could eat anything.
yes, I do, I recognize where you're coming from. I see it. Give me a second. Mackenzie. It looks a little bit less dark, but it still looks, what time is it? It's not yet dawn. I do think we should probably try to leave. Yes. Yeah. This is going to be a little bit of a tricky situation, right? Because we are in a little bit of a place, so we'll see. On the bright side, I'm so far running A's in both classes. Also digital, so no used option. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. You know, it's interesting about the digital because there's an interesting tension there. If I'm going to use a textbook, I'm making a lot of sound. Oh, yeah, I don't have my bonus to my encumbrance because I got so hungry. So there is a bit of a trickiness, right? when it comes to digital textbooks. And this is where we get into, like, I suppose just difficulty, and that is I prefer a hard copy textbook because with hard copy textbooks you can get hold on, let's see. We are here. There's this lost power worker I would really like to be able to rescue. It's one of our last side quests, but I have not been successful at that. So I think what we're going to do is try to go all the way down here to this cache of material, and then see if we can find a way around. Also, see if we can find, like, stuff to make fire. Anyway, so I like hard copy textbooks. I like them for a number of reasons, and some of those reasons involve if it's a hard copy textbook, people can get it used. They can get it from multiple different locations. Like most of the digital textbooks, you can only buy from the publisher, which means you're not going to be able to get a discount. But if you go with a hard copy textbook, you can get it from Amazon or Abe Books or Powell's, or like you can get it a textbook exchange from another student. So physical books give you a lot more opportunities to get the books cheaper. So I like them. However, students don't like them. None of my students like, they're like, we don't want a physical textbook. We just want a digital, we want everything digital because digital is just easier. And so there's a lot of pressure from students to go digital on the textbooks, but that ends up costing them more money. Excuse me. I can't see anything, but I figured that would actually just scare it away. So there's that. So if I see a wolf, I'm just gonna wait and then shoot. I don't know if I actually, I doubt I hit it. If I hit that wolf, I'll be so mad. Excuse me? Okay, there's another one. Excuse me? We're gonna wait. We're gonna wait. Wait. Look, I cannot see them. I doubt I'm hitting them. I know. I just need to scare them away from myself.
We're in the money.
Oh! What? We got bits.
We're in the money.
Oh! So here's the thing, right? Basically, also, did that happen twice? Interesting. Did that happen twice? I think it did, and I don't know why. I'll work it out. Anyway, so a lot of students want the ease of the digital, but that ends up being more expensive for them. So I always get sort of stuck in that I want to make, if I have textbooks they have to buy, then I want to go with physical things so they can get it cheaper, but they don't want to go to the bookstore. So it's like, it's awkward. It's awkward is what I'm going to say about that one. It did happen twice, and I want to know where the second one came from. We'll think about it. Be right. Left a message. Be right says, I can tell you are a true academic. You prefer a hard copy textbook, whereas I would be more comfortable with an easier copy textbook. It's true. Let me see what you said. It's true we both prefer them in physical form. Why make your degree harder than it needs to be? Yeah, I just, because I'm trying to, like, I'm always thinking about cost, right? Which, of course, is, there's a lot of trickiness in here. There's a lot of different costs to think about, which I will tell you in a second. But Hawkeye says, I remember looking 2 super heavy reference books with me every day in pharmacy school. But back then, no digital options. Helped with the cardio when walking or biking, yes. So there's also, it's a bad joke, my friend. No. I get it. It's not a bad joke. It is real. But here's the thing where there's a gap between basically STEM does stuff and then I have to pay the cost for it is what it is. But let me go and sing because, we got this donation from Be Right, who's amazing. And whenever we get tips or bits, I sing We're in the Money as sung by Ginger Rogers from the film Gold Diggers of 1933, which means I sing it in Pig Latin. And then we'll come back to this. Irway in hay, the anime. Irway in hay. Exposure. Irway in hay, the anime. Way at gale, at way of way at way at way to ute at gale young way. Irway in hay, the anime. The ice skates are on, he say. Old man, the aviation pray, ooh, yare, ooh, ray, you stand way young ray, ooh. Even eat ray, edley ansley, of way ed bray ansley, ooh, day. And we see the end, the order will look like the I get in the IA. We're in the money, we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. Thank you so much. Thank you, Be Right. Thank you. There's so many complicated elements that go into all of this, and sometimes students don't see it, and sometimes you have to things get compartmentalized. You have to figure them out, and it's really tricky. I joined at the most part. Hooray! Hello, Sea Spider. Oh, we're gonna save. So, right. So there's like a lot of really weird, complicated things wherein sometimes students want this thing that ends up being bad for them, or less good for them, right? Like they want the convenience, and so they push for digital textbooks, which means they're not going to be able to get them cheaper, right? So that's tricky. And then also, the school itself, look, I have complete, well, more or less, with some caveats, I have almost complete authority over what I teach in my classroom, what books I teach, what books I don't teach, how I teach, because I'm in the U.S. and I have that autonomy, so I can do what I want, which means the school doesn't know. I'm going to just note for the record that I do not have a lot of. There's a lot of things I used to have, and I do not currently have them, which is... Okay, we're very close to the cache of supplies. So, right, you could take my class, and it might cost 0 money, or it might cost some money. And then what it is that I ask for will really it's just really my discretion. And it will depend on the class itself. Now, I will note that there are some... there are some other things that go into that. For example, as a faculty, we try to make sure if we're going to use a textbook, I would like it to not be so dark. If we're going to use a textbook, we tend to like to make sure it's coordinated between classes, that kind of a stuff. But very often, we can do whatever we want. And that means the school itself doesn't know and are not really invested in how much, they don't know, right? So they can tell you how much, they can tell you how much it costs to, all right, let me see. I've got to look over here because it's very dark for me. And I'm looking for this cache of materials, which I don't think I'm in the right spot for yet. Let's see. I know you're getting cold, and I also know you're hungry. Give me a moment. Let's see. I'm here. If I move a little bit more here, and if I continue this way, maybe I will... See, I suspect that the cache of goods is up here somewhere. Like up there, because of course it would be up there. It looks like... That's what it looks like to me. Which is awkward. Because, we're not in the best space. Let's see. I'm going to read this. Let's see. B. Wright says, I bought a few hard copy chemistry textbooks and computer science textbooks in my day. There was a W.H. Smith bookshop on campus, but it stocked the academic books and its prices were as you would expect, yeah. Alida says, having both options is nice, I guess. With digital, I can listen to it with a software that reads it, yeah. I generally prefer the physical ones, especially if I use it as a reference. This way I can navigate better in the document. The other thing about having a physical textbook is that you can resell it. That's another thing that's very useful about a physical textbook. If with a digital textbook, you cannot resell it. So if you have a physical textbook, you can maybe get it used and cheaper, and then also when you're done, you can resell it. So there's a lot of... there are a lot of things to be said about a physical textbook, but it's kind of not currently the fashion, so that's a little bit tricky. Oh, and Aladdin, don't let me forget to tell you about my chapter. Having tried both types of books at work, developing technical software using books from Andy Tannenbaum and Donald Knuth, amongst others, I much prefer the physical book for study. Yeah, C-Spider says, at a turntable, some hard to find vintage vinyls and you're ready for Trooper lessons. Actually, sometimes for some books it might be for some classes, like I had to buy CDs in my classes. I had to buy like a textbook and I'd buy some CDs. So sometimes I might say, hey, you need to buy this. And there are also other things that are involved in this that we have certain kind of constraints as well about pirating. So there are things that are involved on our end as well. Yes, I do like the digital for references. So, that's the other thing that sucks about digital. The license is for 6 months and those access. Yeah, so like, look, I am just generally speaking, I'm not a particular fan of buying a book and then not actually owning it. Like that irritates me a lot. So that often is an element of what I'm thinking about. Let's see, we need to find a way to find this cache. And I'm going to be looking off to the side because I feel like that's going to be one of the only ways I can navigate because it's so dark on my end at the moment. Actually, hold on. Hold on a second. Let me go to options. Display. POV image filter. I wonder if I can... No, I don't need that. I wonder if accessibility, subtitle, auto, language filter, quality. No. We did display. Quality doesn't give me what I want. Audio won't do it because that's just audio. Controls won't do it. Autosave won't do it. I don't think we can control the alpha on this at all. That's okay, because I have an alpha right now on the screen that you're seeing, so I can look at not the game, but look at you, and then I can see it. So that's just a note, noting it. Let's see, and some are still useful for me. Some I make myself believe I'll read them again. Aladdin, I understand that. Wait, what in the capitalistic hellscape is that about? Yes, yeah, no, it's true. Are those digital books usually just PDFs with no Volatile? They're often actually a portal. So the digital books that I have seen are not a PDF with DRM. They are actually web pages, like they're websites with like each chapter is like a web page. And look, I'm also in music, so like we have some of these digital textbooks where you go to the website and you go and you read the chapter and it has like embedded links to the music that they have chosen, and it has like quizzes. It's like a whole portal. It's a whole big deal, is what that is. I don't like them. They're fine. Look, oh gosh, I've got to tell you some stuff. I've got stuff to tell you, people. You started it, and now I have to tell you things. It's about textbooks and it's about teaching, and I've got some things to tell you. I was watching a video the other day about the changes being made to Roald Dahl's work for inclusivity marketability, and it occurs to me that digital books are a lot easier to change. Yep, in ways that can erase the original text. That's also true. Yeah. Hello, Hawkeye. I'm not opposed to updating dates, but I also see room for losing sight of the actual history. I think so I think one of the things about the history thing is that okay, let me put it like this. There are people who are like, well, that really offensive statue, that's history, so we can't erase it. First off, it really isn't as old as people think it is. But secondly, sure, but it doesn't have to be in a public square. It could be in a museum. Like you could have a museum to like statues of Hitler. Like, okay, so let's say we're living, because people get all touchy about the US. Let's say we're living in Germany and there was a big old statue of Hitler in the town square in the middle of Augsburg, Germany, let's say. There is not, but let's say there was. And let's say people were like, we should probably take that statue down. And people would say, but no, it's historical. Like we can't erase history. We need to have that statue of Hitler right there in the middle of town square. saying welcome to Augsburg. Like, you don't actually. You could move that statue of Hitler and you could put it in a Statue of Hitler museum. It doesn't have to be, and you could say, this statue used to be in the town square of Augsburg. It doesn't have to be in the town square of Augsburg. You know what I mean? So when people say we don't want to erase history, they often say that to mean we want to be able to keep yeah. So I mean, I think there's a thing about that. Like, if something is super harmful and messed up, you don't necessarily have to keep you can you can there are multiple options, right? It's not either it's censored or no one ever sees it again. You know what I mean? Like there are options. It belongs in a museum. Uh, uh, so look, I was on the digital side, but I didn't know all this you're talking about. And hell no. See, there's a lot of things in the digital. My example would be people changing the wording of the Constitution without it registering. Um, well, I mean, I think that there are, again, I think this is the interesting part. And I have multiple feelings about this, right? So I have multiple feelings about this. And depending on the situation, I might go back and forth. Like I don't tend to be an absolutist on these things. I tend to think it sort of depends on the context and what it's being used for. And what is the context, right? Is basically the question is what I'm going to say. But if the panel on this news shows more than two sides yelling at each other, people won't be able to follow it. Yeah. So there are a lot of songs that you all know, probably, maybe not our non-US people, that were originally blackface minstrel songs and super, super offensive. Like, super offensive. And those songs we still sing, but we have just taken out some of the language. Now, the question becomes, what do we do about that, right? Yeah. Okay. So people would say you can't change things. That's not right because it's erasing history. But like the Agatha Christie book, and then there were none. Right. I think that's the one. Had the 10. Is it? And then there were none. Is that the one? Am I wrong? And then there were none. Yes. Okay. So yes, that's the one. So it was the original title was 10 Little Niggers was the original title. By the way, people who are going to ban me, I'm citing the thing, right? That was the original name of the book. And then it was changed to 10 Little Indians, right? So when it was released, right? It's 10 Little N-word in 39. Then they changed it to 10 Little Indians. And that's how it was published between 64 and 86. And then, although that was in the United States, the British version still used the original title up until 85. They no longer use that title for the book. They called And Then There Were None. So in the should we, because we want to be historically accurate, continue to sell this book in all the places under that original title from the 1930s, which that's a thing, or are we going to change the title so we can continue to have it be out there without traumatizing people, right? Now, again, there are issues because you can think, I mean, because if it's either or, right? If it's an either or thing, either we don't censor it, or no one then no one ever sees it again, right? Either like, well, then no one's gonna be looking at that book ever again. No one can read Agatha Christie because this is unacceptable, or we just put it out there in a way that you're like, oh, that's gonna be harming some folks, or without commentary, right? Like just putting it out there, just having it out there, just being out there with no commentary or context. Or maybe you just change the title so the book can be out there and not having to worry about all that, or like, what are you gonna do? So I just think I think it's important to note that there's a difference between like an academic context or museum context or a place where you get context with it and just being out there. And I think it really depends on what is the thing we're talking about? What is it? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let me see. Yeah. I'm reminded, says Krellin, sometimes that the very first performance by a black person receiving an Oscar is unavailable for viewing because the rights holder feels it is damaging their corporate image. Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing, right? That's a whole nother thing. Yeah. And yeah, when I was in kindergarten, Sissy Spider Mix, teachers used that 10 Little Indian Song Digress, our first English lessons. It seared my memory. Yeah. Change the title, but make sure people know it was changed and why. See, now that I think is actually, that's Rissa who says that. And I think that's better, right? Now, I think sometimes maybe you can't change the title. Like, I think sometimes you can't change the title. I think sometimes maybe some things, this is really complicated. And I'm going to say a couple of things that are all a little bit contradictory. And again, it's context. And I am not in any way trying to avoid the fact that I have no idea how to get this cache of goods, or maybe I am. Uh, I think that I think that you can't just necessarily say never make any changes because that's bad for the original text. When texts are changed all the time,
Place to escape this.
do you know what I mean? Like it is not uncommon for things to be changed. Like that happens all the time. I also don't necessarily think that, but I also think some things maybe we should not be looking at them anymore. Right? I also will note that, as Krellin pointed out, that sometimes things get changed not because they are, the people changing them are trying to look out for society, but because it's bad for a corporate person's image, right? So some things that get changed, maybe it shouldn't be changed at all. That actually maybe they're totally fine, but some corporations like, yeah, nah, I don't. It's going to look bad for me. So like, there are a lot of different motivations to change things or to not change things, and I think that the complexity of that just has to be recognized. And I really want to get. By the way, it's no longer as dark, so I'm feeling good. And I think that this is something that is really important to note, that there are more than one motivation. There's more than one way to do things. Some things maybe we don't need to hang out with anymore. I will note this before somebody freaks out, like, are you saying we shouldn't blah, 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 whatever, right? I'm going to just note that there are a lot of things that we no longer read or listen to, and not even for political reasons,
I'm so cold.
just because
Again.
they've fallen out of favor, right? Things that were popular and big and maybe even valuable and lovely, sometimes we just stop seeing them and we don't even know they exist anymore. There are all sorts of things that are lost all the time.
Hungry.
Look, I know. I'm trying to find some, like, space for us to cook some stuff. I'm working on it, Mackenzie. Like, I get the situation. I do see where we're at. You just have to give me some space to find, some means to make fire. Gotta give me like a. Oh, gee whiz. Okay, well, none of this is stuff that I like. Give me a moment. Where are they? Where are those wolves? Okay, so this is a fur limb. This is what we need. Hold on. Excuse me. Nope. Ah! Ah! Okay. All right.
I made it through another night.
And also a wolf attack, so that was cool. Give me a moment. I don't know what's happening right now. What I do know is that there are wolves who are gonna try to, like, make my life miserable. I just need, things, Like, I need to be able to build a fire. That's a fur limb, that's great. I need a stick, because I don't have anything right now. I also am in a bad place. But am I bleeding? I think I'm bleeding, everyone. I think I'm bleeding. Am I? Oh, gee whiz. I am bleeding. Yeah. So this is bad. So we're in a super bad spot, everyone. I just need you to know how bad of a spot we're in. We are bleeding. We've got an infection risk. Everything is bad. Just so you know. Just so. That's where we're at. I'm gonna reach out. Scabinac says, a nuanced case-by-case approach? It could never work. And Aladdin says, I don't think there's one answer. Yeah. Kellen says, FDR, they think the solution to the Song of the South is not to seal it in the vault. It should be released into the public commons because it is a historically important piece of media and should not be vanished. Krellin, I'm just going to say this about Song of the South. Disney putting something in the public commons, they spent a ton of money to prevent that. Well, yes, they did. Roald Dahl had some bad opinions. Changing his text doesn't change the man. We should just look for better writers. It's really tricky because there are people who are really invested in that thing. I have complicated thoughts about that too. And again, it's like, what are we going to do about that? The Wolf Q is perfect timing. If we're going to forget vanished pieces of media, I feel like it should be a collective societal decision, not the decision of one or a small board of people. Also, sometimes things just fall out. Sometimes people just forget things and nobody cares. So like that's tricky too. Things get forgotten all the time, which I'm not being like, yay, but people forgot things from last year. So we're in a very bad situation, folks. He writes, says the problem with the information age is it's ephemeral. And what it saves depends on the kindness of strangers, as our corporate overlords aren't interested in many things. Yes, this is one of these problems. Even with computing, there's information I would like to consult, but is not available through any source. Yeah. Well, I also love that head-begging dragon. So it's really tricky, right? Because I think about the ways in which there's so much stuff that's being lost to the ages right now because of the universal fire, or that we're not. Here's the thing. Check it out. We care so much about preserving various problematic media that some people actually like because it's problematic. But yet, as we speak right now, hundreds and like the Library of Congress and the UCLA Film Archive have got hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of films that are on film stock, and they are decaying. And if we lose them, we will never have them back again. We will lose them forever. Not like it's in a vault and we can get it back, but they are decaying, right? They are currently decaying. And once they're decayed, we will never get them back. They will be lost forever. And nothing is being done because it costs money. And people don't want to spend money to preserve films from 1819. But they really do want to spend a lot of time saying how important it is that we have access to whatever kind of problematic thing that has been digitized multiple times, right? So I also think the Song of the South should not be vanished, right? I'm not saying that it should be. I'm saying it not. I actually don't think it should be. But I will note that there are many things that are really important and valuable that are being lost as we speak, and people just don't care, actually. And it's the same thing, sorry, with charismatic megafauna, that when it comes to the prevention of endangered species, like we care about like charismatic megafauna. We care about like dolphins and koala and cute looking things, but we don't care about like various insects that are just as important to the ecosystem. We don't care about a lot of things, right? So there are a lot of like small things that are really important, but they're just not cute. And so then everyone's fine with them going extinct, right? So there's like, so I'm not saying that it's good for things I'm not saying screw the koala. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I think it's important to note when we spend a lot of time and energy and money trying to save something, but not other things, and what does that say about where we're at? That's kind of, right? That's like a meta way of looking at it, but that's a thing I think about. Yeah, the other problem is with the information is how fragile our data is, yes. No one is going to be finding complaints about poor copper centuries from now. From now in our era, yeah. Yeah, screw pandas, says Krellin. Pandas are dumb and useless, but cute. Ugly bugs can go extinct and nobody cares. And those ugly bugs might be really important to our ecosystem, right? So there is like and some of this also has to do with copyright. Sorry, some of this also has to do with copyright. Now, Krellin said if these things are in the public commons, so now if it were in the public commons, that changes a whole bunch of things, right? By the way, I'm bleeding to death and I don't have any,
Gotta stop that blood loss.
I know, but I don't actually have. Here, what we're going to do is we're going to take off our socks and we're going to harvest them. We're going to turn our socks into bandages. This is really bad, everybody, because we don't have bandages. Let's begin crafting our bandages, shall we? And I hope we don't die. Okay, now let's maybe also.
Gotta stop that bleeding.
Yes, I do know that. Like, I am aware that we've got a blood loss problem. I'm not unaware, guy. Okay, what else do we have? We've got to get some. I think Old Man's dressing will help with the wolf bite. And then I feel like we've probably got some painkillers to use. Oh no. Oh my gosh. We don't have enough. Let's do the sprained wrist so we can shoot things. And then let's do some painkillers. Y'all. This is less optimal than it could be right now. Let's do some painkillers.
Oh, come on.
Oh, those are antibiotics. Oops. No good, everybody. Do we actually have painkillers? We do. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, and then, I ripped up my socks to bandage myself. That's how bad of a situation we're in. What do you mean that treatment didn't do anything? Did I do the wrong treatment? Okay, we've got a sprained ankle. We've got hypothermia. I do know. I am aware. We're gonna get some wood. We're gonna try to fix this problem that we have right now that is bad. And then I'm gonna tell you more things because they're important. I know it hurts. Just give me, like, a moment. We have to find a windbreak. And then we need to make a fire and cook food and try to make it so we don't die. Oh, there is a windbreak here.
All this gear is slow.
Yeah, I know. I do know. I am aware. Okay. Whew. Let's make a fire, shall we? We have sticks. Let me see what you're all saying. Let's see. But there's examples of knowledge bases saved on relatively long-lasting media, but we can't even read it maybe 10 years later as it's obsolete in the format and software's lost. Yeah, these are real big problems, you know? Sock bandages are totally... Let's use this fur right now as we speak. In this moment, we are, in this second, gonna cook this meat. This is, y'all. We're not in the best position, what with all of the death that we have, but I'm hoping that we can, you know, make it out of here alive. Take it, cook, more meat. We're gonna do our very best. I find if you speed up time, it takes a little bit less, like you don't lose as much time on the fire. Okay, more water. Okay. Oh, I'm at the point of death, everybody. At the point of death. Just for the record, I'm like in a death spiral. Just having you know about it. Let me just take this and we've got more things to talk about, by the way, but let's add a little bit more fuel to this fire. Okay. And we're getting ourselves caught up. And okay. Also, just gonna eat a little bit more. And once this is done, I'm gonna catch up on chat because I want to talk about the public domain actually, and how the lack of public domain can be a real problem. It's a real problem for like multiple reasons, but also take it. Where are we at, everybody? Okay, we're warm. I'm gonna take this cooking pot. We are not doing well. I'm gonna save the game, but I just, for the record, we are not doing well. Even though all of our numbers are pretty decent, you know, like we're not. I'm gonna save. I just save. I'm gonna save again, and then I'm gonna catch up on chat. Okay. Whew. Okay. Oh, I did want to do a giveaway. Thank you. Perfect. I've got the antibiotics. I think the only problem I currently have is I've got a sprained ankle, and I can recover in about 4 hours, but you know. I'm gonna take torches, everybody, because I don't actually have a lot of torches, so I'm gonna just take a bunch of them. And we're doing our best, everybody. We're doing our best here. Look, I know. Pausing. Documentation for like mini computers is so rare and hard to find. That's true, actually. And the people who worked with it directly are dying. Yeah, so many proprietary controllers and data organization and operating systems specific to a single company, and that's no good, which is why hackers have been very useful for keeping things alive, right? Corin says, by the way, I want to correct myself. I said black person, but it's actually a black man, since Hattie McDaniel had already won an Oscar. That is correct, actually. That's correct. So, for this giveaway, we're going to do a Thomas Chef. So just say something in the next 5 minutes, and then you'll be entered in for the giveaway. And then I'm gonna, give it away now. So, when it comes to all this stuff together, right? Y'all, why do you all bring up such really cool things to talk about? So, a thing doesn't have to be on the public square. It can still be available and not lost. Things could be. So I was in when should you see the merch site online? Well, I ordered samples of the merch, and as soon as the merch gets into my hands and I can check to make sure that the quality is good, then I will put the merch store live. At the moment, I think everything will be fine, but I'm concerned about the t-shirt because I'm doing a DTG, which is dye to garment. There's like DTG, which is where you actually dye the fabric itself. And then there's another format called DTFX, where you actually have like a film, and then you sort of put the design on the film, and then you sort of fuse the film onto the garment. And I'm going with dye to garment rather than dye to film, because dye to film doesn't breathe. If you've ever had t-shirts that have that kind of like fused on image, the colors are better, they're more vibrant, but like it just doesn't breathe, and it's a pretty big image, and I don't want you to be wearing like a big shield in the front of your chest. So I went with dye to garment, but I want to make sure that the colors look fine, that it actually looks okay, and is not because they had like like, you can see an image that they but I want to actually see the actual garment to make sure. And I picked there are multiple colors you can get the t-shirt in, and I picked the dark green to see if things will show up or if it'll be too muddy. And if it's too muddy, then I'll have to sort of like rethink either the print process or the colors available. Basically, I just want to make sure that everything's going to look okay. And I have already been given notification from UPS at DHL that the stuff is on its way. It's not here yet, but it is on its way. And once it arrives, I open the things up and I see that it doesn't look terrible. Then the merch store is going to go live, because I actually spent all the time making like colors, all that stuff. It is all there. It's all ready to go. And once it is up and live, then I'll let you know. I did. I saved all the interesting things. I like free stuff. Yeah, on a big design, those are rough. It'll be like Barrett's latex outfit, and it would be fine if the image were on the back of the t-shirt. You know what I mean? I think it's not too bad to have like that thing in the back, but it's gonna be softer, nicer. So I just want to make sure that it doesn't look bad. That it's not muddy, right? And once I can confirm that the shirts look good, the site will go up and we'll go live, and I'll let you all know. But on the plus side, I got the notification. I just need that t-shirt to come in. And I'm really excited because I'm using Fourth Wall. And Fourth Wall, it's like there are a bunch of like Teespring, a bunch of different places. And Fourth Wall reached out to me and they said, "Hey, would you like to work with us?" And I was like, "I don't know, let me see." But they have inclusive sizing. So that's really good because I wanted to make sure that whatever place I went with had inclusive sizing. They can ship from the EU as well as the US. So there's a lot about them that I feel like is like pretty ethical. So that's pretty decent. That's pretty decent. They also, by the way, this is also actually really cool about them. They also give you a space for, like if I were making things on my own in my apartment and I wanted that to be on the store as well, then I could also put stuff that I personally make by hand on the store, or digital things. So it would allow me to put a lot of different things on there, including not just things that they make, but also if there were some kind of a product that I wanted manufactured that they don't personally do, they can actually source it and get that in there as well. So I feel pretty good about them. I'm just waiting for the samples to come in to make sure that I don't want anyone to buy a t-shirt and have it end up looking muddy. Do you know what I mean? So I'm just checking. Yes. Hi. Hey, Josh. I'm doing very, very well. So let me see. Well, I mean, my character has got like a broken ankle and is at the point of death, but other than that, you know. So I wanted to say something about copyright. Also, I have the suspicion that I am out of fire making stuff, which is not going to be good. So we're going to go and break this down as well, because we clearly need it, you know? All right. So that's great. We have a broken
Gear's starting
spring.
to slow me down.
You gotta relax. I realize I don't know where all this stuff came from, but we have it now. And the wolves are not in our face. We need to see if we can find this cache. We're gonna just walk and see if we can find it. That's our life. Oh yeah, the giveaway. Thank you, Rissa. I got distracted. Thank you. Oh nice. Yeah, it's Fourth Wall. Fourth Wall is the place that they contacted me. They're like, "Hey, would you like to?" And I was like, "All right, well, let me see." By the way, our winner is Krellin. You know how Nightbot feels about you. You know, Krellin. How Nightbot feels about you. Let me know. One site I've been using a lot is bitsavers.org. They have copies of software and manuals for a range of systems and products. I know it's not complete and it's unlikely many gaps will ever be filled, but it's a really valuable resource. I'm trying to give you Atama Chef. It's an indie game simulator. It's like a chef's excitement. Can I laugh at the result? Yes. Can I? Yes. Nightbot has no idea what's going on. So yes. Krellin, may I? Got it right here. It's Atama Chef. It's an indie simulation where you are, I suppose, like an Atama Chef. It is a. You are a resource management puzzler where you design kitchens, program machinery, and watch your genius come to life. It's time to engineer tomorrow's kitchen today. It's got a very 1950s vibe to it in terms of its aesthetic and art. And it's, yes, it looks very cool. I just can't play it because it's PC only. It's making kitchens that work. And I'm seeing patties like hamburger patties moving down assembly lines, but you got to put them in there. It reminds me actually of Sweeney Todd. That's probably a bad reference. You probably don't. Yeah, it's probably a bad reference, but I get it. I know what I'm thinking about. I know what I'm thinking about. Yes, I'm thinking about it, and maybe it's too soon. I expect the game would make me think of Seamus. Oh no. Okay, that's fair. If it would, okay. In that case, again, I am sorry for the way that loss has impacted you, but I will pick a different part. See, Spider, it's you. See, Spider, it's you. Okay, I'm gonna send you a whisper right now. Where did my whisper go? Woo. I'm gonna send you a whisper, and then I'm gonna send you the code. Here you go. Whisper, 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 whisper. There you go. Doo, doo, doo. I have sent it to you. Just let me know that it all worked out, and then that's good. Yes. Oh, okay. Yay! Now I feel good about that. And here, and here, and here. Back to game. We're gonna look for this cache, and I want to say something about the public domain. So, I went to New York City and stayed with a friend for a week, like before COVID happened. Look at me defending moochers and then turning down free stuff. What a winner you are. You're a. By the way, I don't. I am not anti-moocher necessarily, you know what I mean? But I will say, if nobody pays for some labor, then some stuff is just not going to happen, you know what I mean? I think everything is like a little bit, what's the word? Situational. It's, we're going to try to go around this way, see if we can get there. It's situational. You know, there are different situations. Where are you at? I've always been a fan of, why are there so many wolves? Yeah, I know it does. There's so many wolves out there. Do you see them? Do you see like 18,000 wolves? Yeah. I've always been a fan of those things that let you, sliding scale, right? I've always been a fan of sliding scale stuff. I think that's good. So look, this is where I need to be. And I'm trying to figure out the best way to get there. Well, he's got a broken ankle. Yeah. We'll try going around this way, and we'll see if that gets us somewhere. We'll ready more death since I know it's bad. It's bad. I know it. Okay, so I went to New York City, right? And I know you don't feel good, but you gotta keep moving, or else you'll die. Do you know what I mean? Like, and yeah, I also know that I know this. We're trying to find this cache of goods, because if we can find the cache of goods, it might have like a bandage or something like that in it, and then I can help you. But right now I cannot help you. Also, how much food do we have? Not a lot of food. Okay, I'm going to go and try to kill this, well, that didn't work. I think I spooked it, but that's okay. That's okay. We're going to just keep moving and hopefully get there, you know, just little by little, everybody. I'm so happy I was able to do a giveaway. It's been so long since I've been able to do one. I know. Hey, Volnars, how are you? Really, Trooper, because I'm very much not a fan of why there's so many wolves. There needs to be fewer wolves. Okay. Yes. So, don't let me forget to tell you about, like, assigning your own work. I need to say something about that. I should probably just say about now, but I do want to talk about New York City and copyright and problematic works. Ooh. 2 mouths, 1 mouth, 2 things to say. So sad. Okay, so I'll talk about the assigning your own work first, and then I will talk about the New York City. Don't let me forget New York City. So, assigning your own work. I was over on Reddit. They've got like a friend of mine introduced me to Ask Professors and also some of the college Reddits, which I had not actually followed before. And what I have noticed is that there's like a kind of a look. I do know this, but we don't have the material to help you at this second. We're trying to find it, Mackenzie. So somebody was complaining about professors assigning their own articles or books as in the sense that this was somehow unethical, right? Like professors should not be assigning things that they've written or wrote because it's a conflict of interest. It's unethical because it's making students pay. It's basically giving the professor money, right? So there was and a lot of people were like, yeah, that's so terrible. They should never do that. Do we know why Mac isn't well? Yeah, because he's got a broken ankle at the moment, but we cannot fix the broken ankle because we have no bandages, and we destroyed our socks, and that's one of our problems right now. But there is a cache of goods around here somewhere, and if we can find it, then maybe there'll be a bandage in there or something, and then we can fix this ankle of his, and he'll be less sad because he's a sad boy. No, hey, his ankle was destroyed by wolves this last time. Wasn't even me. So if we can just find it, and it's got to be around here somewhere. Probably like right around here. Probably. That looks like it.
That hurts.
I know it hurts. Here we go. Cloth. Look, it's cloth. And you know what cloth means? Cloth means we can make bandages. And we will do that right now. Bandage. We did it. And how much does the wolf weigh? Do foot wraps count as shoes or socks? Well, that's a very good question. If we could make... That's a very good question, actually, Voltail. But at the moment, our main concern is to fix that. Okay. All right. We are no longer in trouble. But yet we still haven't found the convict cache. It's around here somewhere, but we haven't found it. Interesting. Also, I would love to have more food. We are now officially out of food, just for the record. According to Jimmy Snuka, shoes. I'm going to save right now. Just for the record, I'm going to save. Let's do that. Let's confirm this one. Yeah. Assigning your own work first. I'm going to talk about that first. So I've seen a lot of outrage. Like, I think this is us right here.
There it
Hidden
is.
cash. Give me something good. Oh, a revolver. Socks! They are worn, but they are socks. Everyone, we have some socks. It's not the best because they are in very poor condition, but we have socks. We need more socks than we currently have, but we have socks. So that's something. Also, we're still like on the edge of death, and that's not great. But I'm going to save. I'm just going to save right now. I'm just doing it. Just save it. And I'm going to go and check out chat. I can see how you want the material to be used in the course. If I was taking a course from an expert who wrote on the subject, then I want to have the opportunity to have them expand on their insight with the class. Yeah. How long am I going to stream tonight? Probably like a half hour. So like 9:30 probably. Everyone always does the for the record, but no one ever does thing for the cassette. A real adult game where you get excited about socks. Alert! We have socks. It's not a drill. We have socks. So I wanted to. So before I say the thing about assigning your own work, I have to talk about this other thing. I think we should try to make our way here to that last convict cache, and if we can do that, then we make our way back. We do need to. We need food though, so I wonder why we have so much. Hey, give me a moment. You know what? I would like to be in a windbreak, and then I want to look at something because there's something that's not right about my encumbrance. It feels like it's bigger than it should be, and so I've got to figure out what it is that we're carrying that is so heavy, because it's not like we picked up. Maybe it's wood, which will then go away pretty quickly. But let me just check what's happening in our situation. Okay, we've got 5 pounds worth of wood. That's one of the things that's taking up so much space. That makes sense. We will use that when we will use that. I am also going to sharpen this with our whetstone, which will let us drop the whetstone because I'm sure that's going to go sometime soon. Great. Yeah, yep. Look, I think this is going to be not bad. I have an idea about how we can take care of this. Oh, I've got some gut, and I probably have hide that we probably don't really need. Dropping that. I'll keep it with us for the moment, but I also believe we have 2 pistols. Is that correct? We do. We have 2 pistols, and we... Oh. I am going to unload that one. And this one here, I'm going to... Oh, we can only clean it. No, we'll just drop this one. We don't need 2 pistols. So that's decent. We're down to 42... I think a lot of this is fire-making material, and once we make some fires, which we're going to have to do really soon, because we have to, we're going to have to sleep and rest and all of that, and I think that once we do that, we will be in a slightly better position. We have some pelts that we could probably drop, but I think I will keep them for the moment. Right? I think I need a sewing kit. That's all. That's it. That's all I'm going to say. I'm going to check on chat. No, I did not. I did not boo. I did not boo. I thought it was amusing and funny, but I had like multiple thoughts at the same time. Carl says, you know, Trooper, watching you play this reminds me that making your way in the world today takes everything you got. It's true. You know, I mean, and being able to take a break from all of your worries, I mean, it sure would help a lot, you know? And like sometimes I just want to get away. Sometimes I want to go where there are no wolves trying to eat me. And by 5 pounds, you mean 5 kilograms. Yeah, I know. Yeah, okay, you want me to drop the guts? Well, I'll hold on to them for the moment. For the moment. And hopefully we can find a stag and kill it. For food purposes. Yeah. No. There was no judging there. There was no judging. All right, so what I want to say is... Sam is a wolf. Also, Krellin, I do appreciate that you made a reference to 1930s, 40s slang of the wolf as a masher. I appreciate that very much because you know your old slang, and I honor that. Okay, so before I tell you about assigning your own work, I've got to go back and talk about the difference between community colleges, why is this happening, teaching colleges, and research universities. Because I'm reading a lot of posts on college, our college, and our as professors, where a lot of students don't really seem to understand some stuff about what professors do. This is bad, everyone. We're hanging out in a blizzard. I don't know how I'm going to shoot and get food if I cannot see anything. Okay, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. Center mass. Nope. Nope. Nope, not at all. Missed it. In the middle of the forest. No good, everybody. That was my food. Mother Nature wants me to go the other way. I feel like this is tired. I'm gonna be hungry soon. So, community colleges, teaching colleges versus research institutions, and how people, a lot of students. So this is the thing I've seen a lot. I'm so mad that teachers don't do their job. They do all this research, they don't do their job, which is teaching us. And I just want my professors to basically only worry about teaching us and not doing research because their job is to teach us. When there are absolutely 100% institutions where the teachers only teach and do not do research. And you could go to those institutions if you wanted to. But people often don't want to go to those institutions. So we have a bit of a... So students often say they want things, but they probably don't want those things. Or they have demonstrated that they do not want those things. So what is the difference between like a teaching school where you only worry about teaching and like a research institution? If I am at a teaching school, like oh no. Excuse me for one moment. Let's go here. And let me do this right here. Right here, everybody. Here we go. Hi. I'm gonna keep moving. Oh, but I also want to kill you. How many of them are you? Okay, all right. I'm gonna throw this. And then I am going to pull out my revolver. Oh, no bullets. No bullets, everybody. No bullets. Excuse me for one moment. I have a lack of bullets going on in my life. I was so excited, but then, you know, I had a lack of bullets. Awkward. Okay. I know. Excuse me? We've got, they're still around. Okay. We're gonna just take the meat. I'm concerned that if we take the meat, we're gonna die. Because I feel like there are more wolves here. This is not a place. It's not a place, everybody. Not a place. I also cannot, it's bad. I know you're freezing, I do know it. But there are still wolves around, and I also cannot make a fire here. So, it's bad. It's bad, everybody. Like, I see it. I see it. I see your hypothermia. I see it. Oh, golly gee whiz. Okay, this is what we're gonna do, everybody. We're gonna pick up this. Okay, come on. Come on. Hold on. We're gonna save. He's in a bad way. Do you know what I mean? Like he's in that way that is bad. He's in that bad way, everybody. Here, give me that. I'm gonna see what everybody else has to say. Mother Nature's not the boss of me. Hawkeye says, another case, people wanting things both ways. Can't have the knowledge, someone doing the research. Yeah. Winter pulls out the revolver with no bullets. I want you all to imagine The Price is Right. Lose music sting. Yes, I love that sting. It's really good. Bum, 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 wah. So there's a wolf here that has food, and we do not have food, but we cannot make a fire to heat ourselves up unless we get a windbreak, and we are currently not anywhere near a windbreak. So this is bad. We just died. Right. Right. We're gonna go back to this one before everything was the worst thing ever. and then we're going to come back down because we had it. Wait, we were here. Things were fine. We just needed to, like, yeah, we just need to make our way down. That's it. I am, wait, what time is it? Okay. Okay. Oh, hold on a second. We dropped some stuff, did we not? I believe we did. We dropped some things, so let me get back to our... Yeah. Yeah. That was a bunch of ridiculousness. Okay, give me a second. I am just going to... We were going to do a thing, right? We had like a whole thing that we were doing. And I should have probably saved then, but I didn't. Sharpen the whetstone. Yes. Oh, the game is getting harder, for the record. This is a true statement. Okay, so if you teach at a teaching college, right? Like a community college, usually are teaching colleges. Some of the UCs, like like Cal States, are teaching colleges. They're usually much cheaper. Like that is a thing. And we're going to unload that. Go back. We are going to drop this, save some space. We're going to use this. We're going to load it up right now, by the way. So, a teaching load. If you are a professor and you go to a school, you're going to have a teaching load. And that's organized by semester or quarter. Like, so you would say, oh, what is your teaching load? It's 5.5 or it's 2.2 or it's 2.21 or 2.11. Like there's a teaching load. And that number is how many courses you teach per semester or quarter. And at a teaching university that focuses on teaching, you're going to be teaching 5.5, something like that. So like 5 courses a semester. If you are at a research institution, you'll probably be teaching 2.2. I teach 2.2. There's some small liberal arts colleges that'll go like 3.2 or maybe 3.3, depending on where they're at. Teaching colleges have no prestige, and so no one wants to attend them. Well, if all you care about is teaching, then you would go there, right? So I mean, see, the things you can't complain about wanting a certain experience if you make your choices based on prestige, right? That would be the thing. You can't have it both ways. You can't say what I want is prestige, but then what I also want is this other thing. My community college English teacher helped write the book we are using, but I'm guessing it is not the norm. So I love teaching. Like I love teaching and I work really hard to be a very good teacher. I would never teach at a teaching college. And one of the reasons why is because if you're teaching at a teaching college, you don't have the time to teach really well, right? So I teach, like I spend more, like if at a research institution, I'm supposed to spend 40% of my time teaching, 40% of my time researching, and 20% of my time in service. We all know this is not an accurate statement of what I'm doing with my life. But if you're teaching 5.5, and usually those colleges have larger class sizes as well, right? So you've got large class sizes, teaching 5 courses. You probably have no TAs, so you're doing everything yourself. You don't have time to teach well. So what is going to end up happening is you're not going to have time to do research. You're not going to have time to write a book for the most part because you're just teaching such a huge amount of material. You are probably also not, because you're not part of research, you're probably not going to conferences. So you're not going to go to conferences. So you're not going to be, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to keep up. And I have friends who teach at community colleges. It's going to be unlikely to be able to keep up on the literature to see what's new and what's new in your field because you just don't have the time. Your teaching load is just so heavy. So what you end up doing is getting a textbook. You teach to a textbook, probably one that you did not write, and you just have to hold on, right? So you don't get to do new and innovative things very often because you don't have the time for it. You don't get to go to conferences to find out what's new in your field because you don't have the time for it. You don't get to write the book because you don't have time for it. And because you're not going to be very engaged in the larger profession is what's going to happen, right? You're not really engaged in the larger profession. You're probably not giving conference papers. You're not doing research. You're not giving talks. You're not connecting with your peers in the larger field because it's just super hard to stay up to date. And this also then has a number of impacts. Now, I'm not saying that they're bad teachers. If I were there, I would do my very best, but there's just some things that be very difficult. But it also means, for example, there are other things besides just teaching in the classroom that are very valuable that you get from a teacher who's up on their stuff, right? So, one, the big obvious thing is research. I have done research that nobody else has done at all. So I teach class, and this is actually another thing, the kind of classes you can offer. When you teach at a teaching college, you very often cannot teach really radical or innovative classes because they take a lot of time and effort and work to put up. And also, there's usually no textbook for them, so you have to build the whole thing yourself from scratch, and that takes like a lot of time. It's a lot of time. So you're probably not going to be doing really innovative, really experimental courses because you just don't have the time to do it. And those schools often just don't offer a lot of that. So now I teach at a research institution, which means there are some things that I'm like an expert on certain things that like I teach classes. When I first started teaching queer pop, there were only 2 other people in the entire country that taught that class. Now there are more people who teach it because they've all graduated, like they all studied under the same 2 people that I did. But I currently am teaching this class on Black divas, which I don't think is taught anywhere else. I'm teaching a class on the voice, the gender, sexuality, race, and the voice, which is not really being taught anywhere else either, because it's also part of my research. So I'm doing this research, going into archives, figuring out things that no one's done before, and then I spend like all summer building and designing this class from scratch that you can then, if you go there, you're going to get a class with me who's an expert on this thing that you're not going to be able to get anywhere else with, which is new and cutting edge stuff. And of course, it's even more important in the sciences. And I can only do that because half of my time is spent to research. Theoretically, I spend a lot of it in teaching, actually, teaching prep. Like a lot, like to be fair, like I actually don't spend only 40% of my time on teaching. I spend a lot more than that, but some of that research time gets pulled into like doing extra prep for teaching. But ideally, I also teach on things I research, so it kind of does double duty. And if you're at a teaching school, you just don't have time to do that. You just don't have. So you're not going to be able to teach a lot of really innovative, new upper level classes, right? And you're not going to be able to teach. Yeah, you're going to have to teach the textbook quite a lot. It's going to be a lot of textbook teaching because that's what you have time for. Not a lot of new innovative classes because again, you don't have time for it because you're being, because the school values teaching, right? That's it. Like, so with a teaching school, like 80% of your time is teaching, 20% of your time is service. Whereas at a research school, it's 40, 40, 20. So at a research school, I just think I can do better teaching, which is a thing. So, but then there's the next thing, right? So when it comes to prestige, they often have more prestige because they produce, because there's just more innovative stuff. There's more new stuff going on, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you can't get a good education at a community college. You can. You can get a very good education at a community college. But community colleges tend to also be 2-year institutions. So for your first 2 years, and then you go on to some other institution for your last 2 years. So community colleges are great. And I think that people, I think they should be supported and people should go there and they're awesome. And I know people who teach at community colleges who don't want to do research. They don't want to keep up on the literature. They just want to teach their courses, right? And they love it. And I have guest taught at community colleges. I've done like guest lectures, and I love that. And I would always be happy to do that. And one of the things that was actually important to me that when I do guest lectures at community colleges, and if I'm at a place or like teaching colleges, if I'm on a when I was in Atlanta, right, I reached out to local colleges and I said, hey, I'm this scholar from this place, and I'd be very happy to come and guest and do a guest lecture or a talk at your school. And I specifically went to schools, like not the big schools, but like smaller schools that don't have prominent scholars come. Historically Black colleges and universities, women's colleges, smaller places like that. And I said, hey, I'm this scholar. This is the stuff I've done. And I would be really happy to just come in for no money, just come in and do a guest lecture and talk to your students about applying to grad schools or anything you want. I'd be happy to do it because most of those schools don't necessarily have the funds or the means or the time to do that themselves. And so I want to give back, right, in my own way if I can. But if I taught there regularly, I just wouldn't be able to do the things that I'm doing, which then actually does help it helps, right? The students who are there. Um, I spent 6 years at community college. Oh, Atomica says, curious question. Are there any academic positions that don't include teaching, like purely research support positions? Yes, there are. Not many of them, and they don't tend to be in my fields. Sciences will do it. There are things called, it's tricky. Sciences, right? You can be like a research professor where you don't teach, but most likely, you're probably gonna have to teach something. It might not be a lot, right? And what you're teaching might be. I know of some people who are in STEM who are research professors, and they do teach. Well, let me back up. First off, those people are only at institutions that grant PhDs, right? You would not have somebody like that at a teaching college, like at all, and you probably wouldn't have something like that at like a big state school either, because they value teaching as well, even though those are often research positions as well. Research institutions. Like I can't imagine. Like I mean, Susan McClary, who was one of my advisors, she was a MacArthur Genius Fellow, like one of the most famous and prestigious musicologists ever, and she taught at UCLA, and she taught just like everybody else did, and she did not teach. So you're probably going to be looking at going to a really prestigious research institution, like maybe like an MIT or a Harvard, and you are probably going to be in STEM, most likely. Like a really important, probably in STEM, so probably somebody who can bring in a lot of grant money, right? Who can bring in $1 million grant to study astronomy or whatever it is you got going on, or breakthroughs in science or chemistry, medication, whatever. And a person like that might get a job where they teach maybe 1 or 2 classes, maybe a year, maybe just one, and most likely only things like for PhD students, right? So they wouldn't be teaching undergraduate classes, which are a lot of work. They might be teaching only in a lab. Like they might be like running lab work. Maybe they would teach like a seminar. The problem is, no matter what people say, universities do care about teaching. And if you have some really important famous person and they never teach, that's not great, because students come to that school because they want to work with that person. Maybe not undergrads. Undergraduates often don't realize they should be thinking about professors. They just think about the name of the school. They don't think about who's teaching them so much, which is what it is. But once you get grad students do care about who's teaching them, and they go to places specifically for people. And if you hooked like Albert Einstein, like if Albert Einstein was teaching at UT Austin or something, and Albert Einstein just never taught students, and you couldn't actually work with Albert Einstein in any way, all those PhD students would be pretty irritated. You know what I mean? And the master students would too. So while those positions do exist, there are not a lot of them. At least, I don't know any in the humanities where that would happen. The most you're going to get is maybe you have a reduced teaching load, and you don't have to teach undergraduates, I suppose. But teaching undergraduates is hard work, but it's awesome. Undergraduates are great. I love teaching undergraduates. I would never want to give up teaching undergraduates. That'd be awful. Also, I'll just note that your colleagues will not like you. If you come into, because your colleagues will not like you if that's what's going on with you. If you get hired into, some department, English, math, you name it, some department, and it's really hard. What happens is that a department will ask for a line. I'm enjoying your community college. It's a 2-year course. I'm expecting to take 3 years doing it. Oh, that's good. To be fair, I'm probably also bad at lowering education. This is Krellin, but it's easier to cruise by and pure intellect there. That is true. But you're an autodidact, which means you are good at learning. You're very smart. So the way it works is that you have a department, right? And your department has a number of faculty. What we call them tenure track lines or full lines, full-time equivalent lines. And maybe you need more, but you can't just hire people. You have to ask the university to allow you to get another line. And by the way, let's walk. Did I drop everything I need to drop? Did I save? What are we doing? Oh, you know what? I had an idea. I have that energy drink is almost dead, so why don't we just drink this right now? We're just gonna drink our energy drink. And we've got some other things we could drop, but I don't think we will at the moment. but I think I took care of the pistol, right? I think I did that. Yep. Okay, so we are gonna save, and then I'm gonna finish this thought for you. Confirm. Am I winning? It's a question. I'm just more confident at assisting people. I don't think I'd be opposed to teaching. I'm just not as confident conceptually as being able to handle forms and such. Oh, you will learn it. Like, it's one of the things that you can learn. But I'll say this: it is not. It's not great if you. So you have like 5 people. There are 5 people in this universe in your department, but you don't have enough people to teach all the classes you need to teach, to get all the stuff done you need to get done. So you want to hire another person. The university says no. You say, please give me another person. The university says, okay, we'll give you another person. And then they hire somebody who's some kind of rock star who's just not going to teach it all. So now you have a person who's there who doesn't teach, is probably too important to do all the service you have to do, like all of the committee work and advising. Because, one of the things you do besides teaching that takes up a lot of time and space, if you know me at all, you know this to be true, it's advising students. Like, I advise a lot of students. One of the reasons why I was a little bit late today was because I had to do I had to go to, like, a student emailed me because they, I shot you. Dang it. Because they had a noise complaint, so they've been called into, like, the dean of students, and they had to have, like, basically a disciplinary meeting today, and they emailed me and they said, can you please come to this meeting, because I'm freaking out and I don't know what's going to happen to me, so I went. So I spent like 2 hours in a disciplinary meeting, and that is because I'm advising students, right? So if you have been brought in and you're not going to be teaching anything, you're probably not advising students either. And so you are now taking up one of our very few slots that we have. We have very few slots in our department, and you're not going to be teaching or advising. You're not really going to be helping out your colleagues. And so now you're there taking up space, doing research that we don't know anything about, not teaching, not advising, probably not doing enough service either because you're some kind of rock star. And so we are going to be expected to do the work of 6 people, and one of them is not doing the work. That, my friend, is no fun, and is a way to make people resent you, is what I'm going to say. Yeah, that is an easy way to make people resent you, because I wouldn't like it. And I will tell you what, I would never do it. If I were offered a position where I wouldn't be teaching, but could just sit there and do research or not teach, I would never say yes to that, because I just feel like that would be not great for my colleagues. I think it would make me a bad colleague, and I don't want to be a bad colleague. I want to be a good colleague. You know what I mean? So there's that. Ugh. No good. No bueno. I don't think this is the way we need to go. Maybe. What are we looking at? Yeah, we gotta go this way. Okay. I would like to shoot a rabbit and eat it. Here, let me do this. I don't think I'm gonna be able to shoot this rabbit effectively, but Nope. I should have used the rifle or the bow and arrow, but I only have 7 bullets left on that rifle, and I'm going to need that for other things, so no. The guts are making Mac a wolf man. I think it's very possibly true. Yeah. I think I'd make an okay lecturer. The concept of teaching people would be intimidating. Oh, excuse me. Right here. Here we go. I shot you. I full on shot you. Just up shooting. Now. Nope. Excuse me for a second. No. I should not have reloaded. I died. When did I save? 4 minutes ago. We're just going right back there. That was exciting. Walking. We're walking, everybody. We're walking. It's good. It's fine. Max, right? A rock star. Yeah, I could tell you what a rock star is. Nothing worse than, yeah, you don't want dead weight. And like rock stars are dead weight. They're just not good team players. So I don't know much about how it works, but what if those who like to teach more? Yeah, if you want to teach more, you would go to a teaching college. That's what I was talking about. The only problem is that I find that people who go to teaching colleges cannot actually teach well. Not that they themselves are poor at teaching. It's just that the amount of teaching you have to do is so heavy. The teaching load is so heavy, you don't have time to actually research, do innovative classes. You just don't have the time. And then what I didn't say, what I wanted to say, but I forgot, is that there's another aspect about being at a teaching university where all you do is just teach and have no time to go to conferences, give papers, keep up with the literature, besides the fact you're going to get out of date. The other thing is that one of the things that I was talking about advising, one of the things that I do as an advisor is I tell students, they say to me, hey, what college should I transfer to? Where should I go to get a master's degree? Like, who should I study with? And if I am so busy teaching that I have no time to keep up on that, I will not actually be able to tell you. Everybody, Fuku Gods. Just right there. We did it. I'm right now going to save. Because just going to save right now as we speak. This is what's happening. This is the saving moment. Like, you just don't have time, right? I won't be able to give them good advice about where they should study because actually I don't know, because I haven't had time to. I have not had the time, and we're gonna take all of this meat, all of it. We're gonna harvest all of it,
It's dusk.
and then
The night can't be far behind.
we're gonna find a place. We're gonna find a place to set up camp. No fuel and lantern. Oh, dang it. Excuse me for 1 second. We're also going to save because I'm a little concerned. Right? That's what we're going to do. We're going to save right now. So I'm not going to know as well like what places they should go to apply because I don't actually have a good sense of what's happening in the field because I have no time. And then also when it comes to the next part is letters of recommendation. I have seen letters written by people who do not keep up in the field, who don't go to conferences, who are not in the field because they can't because they're so busy, and they often don't know how to write good, effective letters of recommendation, and it's not great for the students. And I understand that students think that a teacher who only spends all of their time teaching and never doing research, they think that might be what they want, but it actually isn't what they want. Because if they got that, they would actually be quite unhappy with that experience. So that's just a thing. I spend a lot of time. As a matter of fact, I've got 3 letters of recommendation to write, which I'm going to do tomorrow probably. I've got a bunch of letters of recommendation to write. I do so much advising, and I've got to go and set up another 8 hours. It's about that time in the semester where students are going to be thinking about their classes for next semester pretty soon. So I need to set aside 8 hours to meet with all of my advisees without a break, probably, to give them advice. So basically, there's a lot that you don't get when your professor is not given the time to devote time to research and innovating their teaching, et cetera, et cetera. And that does not tend to be what happens at a teaching institution. So I really wish this were oh, it is. Okay, here we go, everybody. Here, right now, right here, windbreak. We're going to do it. This moment, right here, we are doing it. We're going to have a fire. We're going to set a fire. We're going to cook food, eat food, have food, sleep.
Come on.
Be good. Be good in our lives. Okay. Add fuel. That's great. Let me turn off our lamp. Let me also, right now, save, because we're in such a good position. We're going to save it. I'm going to see what y'all are saying in chat. Let's see. Some professors just suck. Maybe they should not teach. I'm going to need that rifle later for other things. Fast forward to short, rapidly firing over a bear's head while retreating and cursing citizens politely. Yep. Especially when they don't like it or don't care. It's interesting because I find that there are very few people who are like that. If there are people who are like that, they're most likely to be in fields where they could probably actually just go and work in the industry and make a lot more money. I mean, here's the thing. The truth of the matter is, professors, you go to school for 10 years or more, and you don't get paid particularly well. And the job market is awful. Like, it is really bad. I mean, it's better than some things I imagine, but it's not good. And if you get the adjunct line, you might be making below minimum wage, right? Like, some schools will hire an adjunct for like $3,000 for a class. And that's so that you get $3,000 for an entire semester. No health benefits. No retirement. Nothing. So maybe not even an office. So you've got to like maybe try to get as many of these classes as you can. So you might be teaching 7, 8 classes living out of your car and making like $20,000 a year, right? And you went to school for 10 years to do that. So if you really don't want to teach at all, you are probably not going to become a professor. Because especially if you are in STEM in any way, because you can just make a lot more money just going into the industry. Like, why would you be a professor of computer science and make $50,000 a year when you could just go and be a computer scientist at like Microsoft and make 6 digits? Do you know what I mean? And that's even if you're lucky to get it, like some kind of full-time job. I find that, it's not like the cushy spot. You know what I mean? Let's see. I've heard doing papers is more political than productive. Oh, I don't think so at all. Doing papers is actually pretty awesome. Giving papers is usually, it's part of the research process, right? It's about like you're in an ideal world. When you give a paper, what you do is you're researching something. Like right now, I was researching for my book, right? I'm working on this chapter which has to do with non-binary people, but like cool non-binary versus uncool non-binary and attacking people for not being cool and all this stuff. But it's pretty early. So like the ideal process is I'm working on this stuff and then I go to a conference, either a local conference or a national conference. I give my paper, I get feedback on it. People say, oh, that's really interesting. Have you thought about this? Or here's some other resources. People know that what I'm working on. They get a sense of who I am, what I'm working on, so they can recommend people come to talk to me if they need it. And then I get feedback on my paper, and then I turn it into an article, and then, or a book, right? So it's a way, it's part of the, it's ideally, it's part of the research process. But also it's important because you have no idea how many times I've learned really important things by going to a conference. I was at a conference and I saw a really interesting paper on Ku Klux Klan music in the Ku Klux Klan. It's really, really interesting. And then a year later, I'm teaching a class on American music and one of my students wants to write about the Ku Klux Klan. And I was like, oh, you know what? I was at a conference last year. There's a scholar who's writing on this. Let me give you her email so you can email her and get some information from her, right? So because I go to conferences, I know who's doing interesting stuff and who's doing what work. And if I have a student who wants to know something about a topic, that I can say, oh, there was somebody over there that I saw their paper. So giving papers is about sharing knowledge. It's about getting feedback. It's about it's about a lot of things. And most conferences do blind submissions, so they don't know who has submitted the abstract. So that's pretty decent. Let's see. I've heard meets back the menu, boys. Yep. Basically, what this all boils down to is that we probably need more people working, doing less work, and probably for more money. Yes. Krellin, that is true. However, the problem is, in the US, we do not value education. We're kind of anti-intellectual. And people think that teachers are lazy and they don't do any work and all they do is hang out on the beach or whatever, and nobody wants to pay them. So like it's tricky getting people to convincing people that they should probably be spending money on that. And then if they do convince people to spend money on it, let me tell you what, it's probably not going to go to the arts and humanities. That's another problem. It's tricky. Let's see. Sounds like a full teacher is better for basics rather than higher level classes. Yeah. Now, sometimes that full teacher is amazing and brilliant and wonderful and will add in stuff because they can, and they don't have a good work-life balance, and so they spend all their free time like, because look, and I will tell you, it is very, if you want to get out of that kind of position, you have to write your way out. Like the only way to get into a different kind of position is to write stuff that people think is interesting and useful and important. And then you can maybe get to a different position. But the only problem is it is really hard to write your way out of a position when you're teaching 5-5. So tricky. You can get stuck there. But I know people who've done it, and I know people who, even though they're teaching 5-5, they just don't have a personal life at all. They don't have friends or family. They never see anybody. They just spend all of their free time when they're not grading doing some kind of extra research to write a book or whatever they want to do because they care about that. But that is, you're working 80 hours a week. You know what I mean? Atalico, says Ice Bunny. Yeah, that's what I thought like for undergrads. Yeah. My English teacher seems to have a ton of enthusiasm, but he did get a disappointed look of absolute despair for a moment when one of the other students admitted they didn't know what a verb was. Yeah. And in California, $3,000 maybe 2 months rent, maybe. Yeah. And a semester's like 4 months. Yeah. For a shoebox. Yep. For a shoebox. Studio, one bed, depending on the yep. Nerdy conferences are the best. Trooper, what do you got to say about New York City copyright and problematic works? Oh yes, I do. And then Josh, thank you, Josh. And meanwhile, the football player makes millions, right? Like there are football players who make $10 million. High school football coaches, right? Not the player, but the coach. Yeah, the coach makes there are coaches who make $10 million when your professors are making 50,000. Do you know what I mean? And you're like, well, there you go. Yeah, because the purpose of education in the U.S. is to make you eligible for higher paying jobs and for no other reason. Thank you, Rissa. So the thing about New York, to wrap up this one thought, it is not unethical to have students read your work that you've written. And as a matter of fact, I have generally speaking not done that. I've always been a little bit too embarrassed to have my students read the things that I have written. I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, that's just so embarrassing, right? But the thing is that somebody said to me, you probably should have them read the stuff that you write because you're the subject matter expert, and that's part of what they're actually paying for, right, is to go and learn from you. And I think one of the things that really sort of changed my mind about that is that, I had a computer science professor who said and look, some of these textbooks are not good. Some of the textbooks are just bad. And I don't want to teach them because they are bad. Yeah, I actually rarely use textbooks. And because I teach because I'm a 2-2 load, I have the time to not use a textbook, which I just don't generally tend to do. I don't tend to use textbooks. Actually, almost never do I use textbooks because they just aren't great. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, they're fine, but they're not the greatest. They often don't do what I want them to do. Sometimes they're a little bit conservative or they're not nuanced enough. Everything's a little bit too black and white. And that is not what I want in my, it's not what I want. You know what I mean? Like I want something that's a little bit more, I want something that's a bit higher level, a bit more complex, a bit more nuanced. And if I want that, oops. I think I did a bad thing, everybody. Did I just do a bad thing? I might have done a bad thing. I'm afraid that what I did was eat raw meat. I don't know if I did or not, but I feel like I just did. I don't know if that is what happened. I'm afraid that is what happened, but we will find out in a second. And let me just take this, take this. This campfire's going for another time period. Let me drink. I have way too much water right now. That's okay. So I realize now that not assigning my work when there's no other space where they can actually learn those things is not actually like the best thing for them. Like it's not like I'm not actually doing them a favor when they've come to my class because they want to learn this stuff that they can't get anywhere else by saying, well, I'm not going to teach this to you because I wrote it and that would be too embarrassing. So I have stopped doing that. Do you know what I mean? Like I now, I don't do it often. I really don't. I do it only once or twice. Like that chapter from the Oxford Handbook, I will have them read it because there is nowhere else to get that information. Like there's just nowhere else to get it. So I do assign that to them when I teach a class where it's relevant. If I spent time writing a textbook, why is this happening? Why is this happening, everyone? Why are we in a blizzard? Why? Why? I'm gonna pick this up. And I'm gonna also eat venison. And then I'm going to save. Right? Like, because again, right, I have written things that you just cannot get anywhere else. And if I'm teaching on that topic, then I probably, and if I spend the time to sort of create a textbook, which maybe one day I will. I've been asked to make a textbook on popular music because some of the textbook, they're just not very good. Then if I made it, I'd make it because I'd want it to be something that I think would be really effective at teaching. And so then I probably should assign it, right? So like, it's not actually unethical. And also we don't get paid. I mean, we don't get paid for articles. Actually, sometimes we pay them. So it's not like I'm making any money off of having my students read the articles. I just basically get exposure. If I write a book, I might make some money off of the book. But my understanding is that I'm not going to make much. I'll probably make like $100, $200. You know what I mean? It won't be very significant. So, we don't tend to write to make money. And if we assign this stuff to our students, we're not really going to be making money off of that. Either not at all because we don't get paid ourselves, or just a very, very small amount. So it's not really like, yes. Like you said, it's time to eat. Okay. Where's my cursor? There it is. Let's see. Maggie and Rivers are curled up tight in little balls because dinner isn't for another hour. Wizard says, my experience with textbooks from when I studied social sciences can be summed up by the fact that I threw away the collected works of 5 of my former professors when I moved. Hey, Wizard. I want to give you a huge hug. The books you write are worth being out there and worth being seen by your students, plus you get some money. Not much. Gluing done for the night. Oh, yay, come back to chat, Hawkeye. Wizard says, teaching computational biology myself later, I use precisely one textbook, and I use that to prepare the course, not to have the students read it. But then again, STEM is much more focused on current papers than on books. Yeah. Yes. Although I know that a lot of those big core STEM classes use those big textbooks. I don't use any textbooks, actually. I do articles, and well, that's actually not true. For my queer pop class, I don't right now. I used to use a history textbook, like just a queer history textbook, not a music textbook, so they could have that background. I might have them get some academic books, like depending on what the book is. But one of the I'll see you later, Rissa. I'll be 20 minutes. Basically, no author gets paid more if their first book sells well, but basically no author gets a second book if and also as academics we never get paid well. So this is the thing I was gonna say before I get to New York. Here's one of the things about like how I have to deal with other people's behavior, because STEM textbooks are so expensive, right? They're so expensive. Psychology books, chemistry books, they're so expensive. Students, and because people think that STEM is more important than the arts and the humanities. They think those are real classes, and my classes are not real classes. And politicians say this all the time, right? So there's a general devaluation of the arts and humanities. What that means is because somebody spent a $500 on a chemistry textbook, they don't want to spend any money on anything in my classes at all. So, but also because our comp sci class makes them do 30 hours of homework a week, which is way more than they're supposed to be doing. They don't want to do any homework in my class, right? Because again, my class is not important, but their class is important. So there's a way in which, because STEM classes, by the way, STEM professors make more money than I do. So they get paid more. They charge more. Their textbooks are way more expensive. They also are more expensive to hire. They tend to assign more work to their students above and beyond what they should be doing. And that trickles down onto me, where people are like, well, I don't want to spend any money on your class. Also don't want to do any work in your class. And yeah, so like I have to deal with the fact that students are being pressured on one end, and that sort of ends up hitting me. So I tend to avoid textbooks at all. I tend to avoid making them buy anything. This sometimes cannot be avoided because I'm a music class. They have to listen to music. I can usually put all the music necessary up on our course website, but I will get into copyright problems if I make them listen to an entire album. Like I cannot rip an entire album and just hand that to them because that would I can do like one song from an album. I can do one song here or there, and for a big survey, that's not a big deal. But or if I'm doing a survey of a performer across their lifetime, right? I can pick songs and that would be fine. But if I wanted them to listen to an entire album, like if I did there's a class I want to teach on concept albums. I haven't put it together yet because again, it takes a long time to put together a course. But I really want to do I want to do a class on concept albums, theme albums. Like I think that'd be really, really interesting, and maybe do one album a week. But in that case, I'd have to have them buy the albums because I would get sued, right? If I just gave them full albums. In the same way, I cannot photocopy an entire book and give it to them. I can take a chapter out of a book and give it to them. That's okay. That's still within fair use. That's still within fair use. One song of an album, that's still fair use. I can do that, but I cannot photocopy an entire book and just give it to them. Then I'd get in trouble. So if I need to do an entire book, then I have to have them buy it. So I often just don't do entire books anymore, which is really not great for some topics. Sometimes I have to do an entire book. But most of my books don't cost that much money. They cost like $20 sometimes. They're not 500. But like I'm always trying to think, I know my students are spending hundreds of dollars on textbooks over in their STEM classes. So let me see, what can I do to make it so that they won't have to spend as much money or hardly any money over in my place? Okay, I know that they have so much extra work they're being given over there in that STEM class. What can I do to still make this class a real class? Because I don't want them to be spending money for nothing, but to make it a little bit easier for them. So like I'm always having to compensate for my STEM colleagues who don't, you know. These are some of the things that are going on like on a professor level. But music is math too. I've noticed a cultural shift in media, not politics, towards saying STEAM instead of STEM with the arts in there, but I don't think anyone's buying it. No, nobody's buying it. And by the way, Krellin, you want to know what STEAM means? Can I tell you what STEAM means? Because I have been to those meetings when they're like, we don't mean, let's just say STEAM. And at first I was like, so you mean everything but the humanities? That's weird. But also they only care about the arts insofar as like STEAM meetings tend to be things like this. Well, the arts are important. You know why? Because if you know like aesthetics, you can make better fonts for your tech. And they really are only thinking about the arts as a way to make your products more sellable, right? Like it's really still, it's not respecting the arts in and of themselves as being valuable, but only because they think that because Steve Jobs took a class on calligraphy or whatever one time and that helped him make whatever, you know what I mean? And so they don't really care about the arts. That is not a thing they actually care about. Yeah. Wizard says, STEM textbooks are extremely expensive, but also usually have high quality illustrations, diagrams, supplementary materials. Sometimes they're just overpriced though. Steam. I like Steam, Sea Spider. Steam. The thing is, so Wizard, what's really interesting about that is I'm in music, and music textbooks can be very expensive because we need to have music examples, and that's a lot of like music engraving, and that can make, especially if you're doing like illustrated manuscripts, it can be very expensive, but nobody wants to pay. People don't see value in the arts, right? So it's just rough. And look, I'm going to say this: I value STEM. I think it's important to be well rounded as a person, right? I think that this is bad, everyone. Did I save? I hope I did. I think it's important to be well rounded. Like, I really, really do. I think that not being able to. By the way, why am I not healthier right now? There was a really great. There was a biology professor. There was a biology professor who said that he does a lot. He's very similar to me. I mean, we're very different people, but he also does a lot of volunteerism to like give public lectures and, share stuff about biology to other folks. And he always says that he thinks it's critically important for citizens to be literate in science, because if you don't have science literacy, where am I at? Ooh, I don't have a lot of fire making material, by the way, everybody. Just gonna note that for the moment. That if you don't have science literacy, it's going to be harder for you to be able to understand. Because he says, like, some of these people might go off to become politicians or be working to legislate the internet or women's bodies, and if they don't understand how computers work, or maybe also the internet, that's no good. And that's true. And I actually do think it's important to have science literacy, but I also think it's important to have literacy in all of these things, right? Like, I think all of those things are important. I do. But, we don't treat all those things similarly important, and that's a real bummer. That is a real bummer. Cries in $200 music history textbooks. Yep. So, Josh reminded me about the New York City copyright thing. So, and it's all about, like, what do we do with problematic texts? So when I went to New York City for a week to visit, a friend of mine let me stay at his apartment, and what I did was I went and I did rush tickets to see some musicals, because I'd never seen a Broadway musical before. I mean, I'd seen Broadway musicals, but just not on Broadway. You know what I mean. Because I'm from the West Coast, and we don't have access to Broadway, obviously. So he was like, you should come. You can stay at my futon. I've got an air mattress, and we'll do rush tickets. And I said, sure. And when I was in New York, I saw 3 shows. I saw the revival of Oklahoma, a revival of West Side Story, and at the Metropolitan Opera, a revival of Porgy and Bess. And those 3 things told me a lot about the value of the problematic nature. Well, they told me a lot of things.
Can't feel
Wizard says, to be honest, STEM unfortunately does not teach literacy in STEM a lot, or in scientific theory. And I think that's a real bummer, because I think that we as citizens need to, Wizard, I think we need to know those things. Like, as good citizens, I think you need to know how to, there are a lot of things I think you need to for your own well-being, right? To live in the world. I think you need to know a bunch of stuff. And, yeah, right? So, anyway. So, are you really going to do this to me? Oh my gosh! Excuse me. Wait. No. No! Oh! Excuse me. I'm bleeding.
that blood loss.
Yeah, I know. I do realize that. Give me a moment. Blood loss. Blood loss. Right foot. That's great. Also, antibiotics. Right now. That's also great. Also, there's still wolves. What do you mean this treatment didn't do anything? That was antibiotics. Wait. Infection risk. Oh, I see. Wrong thing. Okay. Oh, wait. No. Don't die. No. Here. Okay, here we go. Okay, give me a second. Also, did I kill that wolf? Oh, I just shot it and scared it. Okay, great. You have to forgive me for one moment. I'm cold and there are wolves and I'm not feeling good about it. Go. No! Bad time! This is bad! Bad! Ah! Go! I died. I was in a really good spot just 3 minutes ago. We're just gonna go right there. I just need more death. I just need more death. That's what I need. Give me 1 second. There we go. Whew. 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 More death. Okay. Whew. Oh, okay. Yeah, Dale Cameron did interesting things referring to songs, yes, and acting to make Philly more clear while Porgy and Bess kept true to its original racism. Yes, yes, thank you, Crowlin. But I know. So here's the thing about the right. So Oklahoma did a really good job of reframing the musical to make it really, really different, and they really were very critical, and it was really, really well done. Whereas Porgy and Bess just kept everything the same. But here's the thing that I want to say about this about copyright. And it was really gross. The Gershwin estate, the Gershwins are dead. The Gershwin estate will not let anybody make any changes to Porgy and Bess whatsoever. You must always stay true to the author's intent. This going way back to the beginning of our conversation, right? You cannot change anything. Nothing can change about Porgy and Bess. So it stays being pretty gross, actually. And because they won't let you change anything, you're stuck with either we do Porgy and Bess in a way that's super racist and sexist, or we just don't do Porgy and Bess at all, because we can't do anything with it. But the Rodgers and Hammerstein estate, they let the new production change Oklahoma. They let them reorchestrate it, do different things with it, and then they made it really powerful and wonderful. It was so good. It was so interesting. I was so impressed by it. I never thought I would like it. But they did such a good job. And what they did was they took the piece of art and they adapted it to the modern moment to do something really, really interesting. And that only happened because the estate allowed them to do so. But when I think about, but Sondheim wouldn't let people do innovative stuff with his work. A bunch of authors won't let you do stuff with their work. They're like, no. My undergrad college wanted to do a Stoppard play, I think it was. Maybe it wasn't Stoppard. I think it was Stoppard. They want to do an all-female version of Glengarry Glen Ross, and the author's like, no, you can't. I refuse to allow you to make anything, right? So if these things went into the public domain, then we could do things to them, right? Like, I think that's, to go back to something that Crowlin said earlier about how he thought that Song of the South should go into the public domain so then we could do stuff with it. And when things go in the public domain, then society has the ability to remix it, to reframe it, to do things with it in ways that can be interesting or valuable. But when you have people when things do not go into the public domain and cannot be altered, cannot be reframed at all, often not even by the original authors because they're dead, but by their estate, then we're stuck with the option of either just never doing those things again because the way that the estate wants us to do it is just not acceptable, or doing them in a way that's kind of gross. So I actually think that having things go into the public domain, into the commons, is actually quite crucial, not just to save things, but also to allow things to stay within the conversation of society. And so I think that some of the questions we have about what to do about some of these things would be less, I mean, if things went into the public domain, I think there'd be some different conversations. There's a reason why I think people do Shakespeare in so many different ways all the time. They keep going back to Shakespeare because it's in the public domain, so they can, and no one can stop them from doing interesting things with it. And, so I think that there's a way in which the extension of copyright because of capitalism and Disney has exacerbated some of these problems we have about problematic texts, right? Because if things were in the public domain, then we could do things with them. And so that's a thing. That's a thing. Josh, thank you for reminding me. Every time I hear about the so-and-so state, it should remind me how bad copyright is right now. Yes. Josh says, yeah, it should be in a public domain, not locked away by a great-grandson trying to reap the generational wealth. Absolutely. This year, the last stories of Sherlock Holmes went in the public domain. Finally. Things that need to be adapted and changed to keep them alive and relevant. Stagnation is death. Yes. We forget the things that refuse to change, and Disney built this empire knowing this. That is exactly right. That's exactly right. Yes. Disney exists because it adapted the classic tales. Right. I mean, Disney would not exist. Disney, I didn't realize this at the time, but Disney wanted to do Alice in Wonderland, but they waited until it went to the public domain before they did it because they didn't actually want to pay. Right. So like, and now they basically own their adaptation of Alice in Wonderland and they make people forget the original. So everything, like, it's just really messed up. Ice Bunny says, or you have the actors bitch till the theater takes it off the menu. That just happened with Otello for a reason I'm not sure. I only know Otello, cream cake. Oh, Otello. Oh, Otello, for reasons you don't know. Oh, see, the thing is, you can do Othello well, or you can do it badly, right? Like, I've seen some great... There was a production of Othello that I never saw that I really wish I could. I wonder if it's been recorded. So, Patrick Stewart, right? Our... Patrick Stewart, you know Patrick Stewart, Picard, did a reverse... Where am I at? I do not have wood. That's why I'm here. That's what this is about. I need more wood. Did a version of Othello where he played Othello, not in blackface, right? He was a white person, and everybody else in the cast was black. So instead of everybody being white and Othello being black, he was white and everybody else was black. And I think that's really interesting, and I would have been very fascinated to see what that looked like. Like, that sounds interesting to me. I think that could be cool, right? I think it was in the 70s. I think they did that in the 70s. It might have been the very, very early 80s or late 70s, but I think it was the 70s, and I think it was in New York. But don't quote me on that one because I'm not 100% certain. Othello where Stewart was... Yeah, that's the one. And I thought it would have been really, really cool. And that was his stipulation for doing it, right? It was. Like, he was asked to be Othello, and that was his condition. Yes, he was like, no, I won't do this unless we do this way. And I thought that was really cool. And it made me think, okay, Patrick Stewart, all right. Like, good on you, right? I thought that was really cool, and I really wished I could have seen it. Because it sounds like it was doing something really interesting. Okay, here we go. We are going to stand right here. We're going to, this. No, I shot you! Oh, no. Excuse me for one moment. We're gonna do it like this. Yeah, I know. I do know this. We're gonna just do this. We're gonna just light this up right here. We're gonna drop this on the ground. We're gonna stand near it. We are going to, do I have a bandage? I do. We're gonna use that.
Need some first aid.
Yes, I know. I do know. And we're gonna get rid of our infection. I have no more bandages, by the way. It's real bad. There are wolves everywhere, but, and I'm cold. So I'm gonna just pick this up while we're here.
Cold is
Oh my
making
God.
my head feel thick.
Yes, I do realize that, my friend. Like, please do not think I'm not aware of the difficulty of this situation. I am with you, Mackenzie. You don't have to yell at me. I understand the stress. Whew. No, leave me alone. I do not want to talk to you. Everybody, I'm gonna end the stream soon. I just want to get out of this position so that we are closer to not badness. You know, that would be my goal. We're just gonna get closer. Why are there so many wolves? Why? I love when actors use their clout and authority for good. Leslie Odom Jr. is my favorite member of the Hamilton cast because he's the reason the cast gets royalties. The whole cast, not just the principal actors. That's amazing, and that is good. I think it's like when why are there so many wolves? It's like when Betty White back in the 50s was like, I'm going to have this black tap dancer on this show. You don't get to not have them there just because you're racist. Like, good on you in the 1950s. You know what I mean? All right, where are we at? Okay. People stand up for things, and I think it's important. Like, if you've spent time to get clout, then I think you need to use that clout for good. It's like when he refused to come back and record for Disney Plus unless the whole cast got royalties for it. See, that's really good. Also, I'm thinking about how Taylor Swift gave like $200,000 to Kesha because she couldn't work because of the whole Dr. Luke thing, and she gave her that money to help pay for her like legal fees and to be able to live. And I think it's important when you have, if you've gotten up a couple steps, you should like turn back and help people get there too. You know what I mean? I just think that's important. Also, I am sad about the current state of my affairs. Yes. But good on Leslie Odom Jr., you know? I feel like, okay, I'm gonna get very, very Pollyanna on you right now. Taylor screws up, but she tries, and she tries to fix what she screws up generally. Yes, that's true. And also, you know, some of those screw-ups, she was really young. She's less young now, but, you know, she does try, and it does matter to me. And to be very Pollyanna, right? I do believe 100% that we can impact the world by how we behave and how we exist in the world. And if people can make the world a less positive place by being horrible to other people, I do believe that we can make the world a better place by being better to people. I 100% believe that to be true. 100%. And so I just try to, so there is a cache of material around here somewhere, and I don't know where it is, but we are in the area. But I do believe that I believe being kind to others and being an example of ethical behavior and,
Here it is.
but what was in there? Okay, what do we got? Bullets? Ooh, baklava? Okay, we got some stuff. Great. Where are the wolves? So, I would like to find a place where we will not be dying. You know, like a good windbreak so we can start a fire, perhaps, would be awesome, and maybe not be killed by wolves. Those are things I would be very excited to experience right now, because we do have to go. I want a windbreak. I'm gonna find a windbreak before we stop. Yeah, and I think that every time somebody tries like that, really, really does try, I think that people know about it, and I think that it helps make the world just a slightly better place. And I think that if we can continue to do that, you know, I think it's good. I think it's good. And I do, because I don't believe that people are bad. I don't believe that. I think that people are pitted against each other, but I think that people, generally speaking, are kind, unless there's something happens. Do you know what I mean? Like if something happens to make that not a thing, then perhaps. But I do generally think that people are kind and good, you know, at its base, and we can live in a society where people are kind to each other, and yeah, I do believe that very much. So, but you just have to be stubborn. Do you know what I mean? You have to stubbornly do the right thing, even when it may not be easy. That's all. Also, the state of the stream. I'm gonna save this, and then I'm coming over here. Yes. People, can you imagine all that we did today? That was wild. I couldn't believe it. We finished the caches. We have only one thing left to do. That has been epically ridiculous, but and we died, but it's good. Yeah, she's 33 now. She was, when she started, she was quite young. But she's 33 now. Yes. Oh, okay. Whew. Yes. So yeah, I do think that things like Leslie Odom Jr. doing that, and also here's the other thing too. C Spider says, so much got done and not died one time, not even once. Well, I mean, I did die 3 times. I feel like I didn't more. I think I need one more death, right? I think I need one more death. I think one more. By the way, how many times have we died? Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant taste of death but once. I have died 59 times so far. But, you know, yeah. But we did learn from those deaths. Yeah, so look, and I also think, here's the one other thing I will say about doing the right thing, or what you think is the right thing. Even if it doesn't impact other people, even though I think it does, in that sort of Prel commercial. There was a commercial from the 70s for Prel shampoo. And there was like a woman, she's like, Prel is so great. I love capitalism. But like, and I will tell two friends, and then like, she splits into two people. And then they'll tell two friends, and it splits into eight, and it keeps splitting until there's like bunches of people. And I always think about it that way. Like, if I can go and show kindness to someone, they might show kindness to two people. They might show kindness to two people. And then we might just get like a better world. And even if, but here's the thing, but I do believe that. I think that is possible. But even if it doesn't happen that way, it doesn't matter, because I still did a kind thing, and that's important to me, right? Like, I don't necessarily do kind things because I want something out of it. I do kind things because I think it's the right thing to do. So, right. And sometimes I have to do unkind things because I think it's the right thing to do, but I don't, yeah. I think it's important that at the end of the day, when I die, I want to be able to look back at my life and be proud of what I've done. Even if nobody else knows it or cares, that doesn't matter to me. What matters is that I feel like I've done something worthwhile and valuable and meaningful to me. So yeah. And I appreciate that Josh says more things should be in the public domain. And because look, things went in the public domain after 25 years originally. I think it was originally 15, then it got expanded to 25. So you had like 25 years to like profit off of your stuff, your art, which I think is fair. But now we have people profiting on stuff that never even made it. And we have people, yeah, it's no good. It's no good. Yeah, those are my thoughts on that one. Pay it forward, absolutely. The wolves are eating nice tonight. Mm-hmm. According to my granny, 33 is very young, and she was 96 when she died. Mm-hmm. Oh, dang, bad eyesight made that 5 look like a 6. Oh, Krellin, I see you. I see you. Where am I? Okay. Your students will remember you. Here's the thing. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. I'm sure some of them will and some of them won't. But that's not the point, right? The point is to walk with integrity. That's the point for me. It's why I don't cheat. You know, sometimes I'm playing RPGs and we don't use a dice roller. We use dice, like just physical dice, and no one else can see my dice but me. I never lie about my dice. If I fail, it's a fail, because I could cheat, but why would I do that? And I remember Rissa, who's not here, when she first introduced my new character, Tommy, to the Call of Cthulhu game, and I had to make rolls to like basically get to know the other players, trust them, and like feel not weirded out. Like, there's a bunch of rolls I need to make things work out well, and I kept failing those rolls. I just kept failing them, and I did not lie about it. I was like, nope, I failed that one too. And she's like, get new dice. I did, and so I stopped failing as much. But like, you know, it's important to me. It's important for me to know what I'm doing is that I can stand by what I'm doing. You know, even if it's unpopular, that's okay for me. You can really go wrong by being kind to others. Even if your kindness doesn't pass on, at least you made one person's life better. That's exactly right. That's how I feel. And Josh says, also Cardi B out here fighting for healthcare for all. Yes. Pay it forward, not just get mine mentality. Absolutely. I think that way. And then the other thing I would say, the other part of that for me, somebody said something I thought was really good. It was about justice. And they said that justice is just as much about praising people and acknowledging things that people do well as it is, you know, when people mess up. That like true justice also involves saying, hey, you did a really great job, and that was a really wonderful thing you did. And not thinking about justice as like just punitive business. It's also about like saying, hey, thank you for that. And I thought that was very cool. But also, it's something I also try to live by. I really think it's important to tell people good things when you think of it. I would never say something I don't believe. I would never give somebody a compliment that I thought was bogus. That's not right. But I do believe it's really important to, if somebody does something good, to tell them. Because so many people do good things and nobody ever says anything about it. They just take it for granted. But I think it's good to say, hey, I really appreciated that you did that. Even if nobody else does. I think that that's part of being part of a community in some ways, right? Just being collegial and communal to say, hey, I saw what you did, and that was really cool. You know, I think that's, especially online. Artie Snack, I don't know if Artie Snack is here right now. Is Artie Snack here right now? I don't know if Artie Snack is here right now. I want to do some Cthulhu dolls. I learned about Barbie size cosplay last weekend. Oh. So Artie Snack will just randomly send people nice thoughts on Twitter. We'll just say, hey, I hope you're having a good day today. And that is like so awesome. I think that is such a wonderful thing that Artie does. And he just goes and he randomly says to people, hey, I hope you're having a good day. And that's really awesome. And it's so easy not to do that. And Artie always does. And I appreciate that very much about Artie. Because we're all having a hard time. You know what I mean? In our own ways. Everybody does, no matter who you are. And it's nice to have somebody say, hey, I hope you're okay. Or just like give somebody an apple or whatever you got going on. You know what I mean? If you can, do that. And I try to do that. And I'll tell you what, though, other people do it too. Like, I'm not the only one who does that. I know a lot of people who do that. And you cannot encourage behavior unless you reward. Yes, that doesn't just mean material. Yes, absolutely. And the things you don't have to just, yes, it doesn't have to always be material. It can be so many things. And I'm going to say this one thing before I go and tell you where you can find me next. I love this community. The people who hang out here in the Foxhole, the collective, right? The Battle Buddies, I love y'all. I have been to other streams where people are not as kind or interested or interesting or thoughtful. People who just troll and or don't even like share or help. And I really appreciate that you all you share and you help and you talk to each other. And sometimes I'm not there and one person talks to another person. And I love the vibe of this place that you all help do. And I really do believe that one of the reasons why this vibe has this place like this is because we try to do it in this way. And I do, and like people always say, oh, the internet's so terrible. Oh, all that. And I was like, no, it doesn't have to be that way. Just do not do that. Like that, just don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do it. Do other things instead. And yeah, just don't do that. Like, I know that's so silly, right? It seems so simple, but I was talking to somebody who was saying, it's so hard being a man because, you know, the women you date always want you to like be hard and never have feelings. And I was like, don't date those women. Simple. Like, I would never date someone, regardless of their gender, who did not allow me to have feelings and who mocked me. If somebody mocked me for having feelings, I would not date them. We'd be done. That's it. Just don't date those people. Don't date those people and then be miserable. Don't date them, right? Don't do it. And you don't have to. You do not have to have in your life. Don't do that. Just don't do it. Do we raid Hannah Rad? Yes. Yes. We're gonna. Oh, Ice Bunny. Yes. Oh, there's no CR tonight. Oh yeah. Okay, that's fine because I've got a bunch of work to do. We are going to raid Hannah Rad. That is amazing because Hannah Rad is awesome, and I am so excited to raid Hannah Rad. I am so excited. We're gonna raid Hannah Rad. Yes. Okay, so before I'm leaving right now. So you can find me tomorrow. This is our raid command, by the way. You can find me tomorrow on my channel at 7 p.m. for jumping to our first quest for Crash Jones, Space Adventurer, and the Drynax Barbarians, our Ironsworn Starforged solo interim campaign, and I'm really excited for it. Y'all, I got a really cool logo from Josh Me and Art, and I spent a lot of time, more time than I should have, actually running about and updating the overlay. So the overlay, I've got some surprises for the overlay. I'm hoping tonight to go and get some surprises for audio, and I'm really excited for it. I can't wait for you to see it. So I hope I can see you all tomorrow at 7 p.m. for Crash Jones. I'm also going to go to the post office tomorrow to see if things have arrived, because if they've arrived, then maybe I can, do something. I don't think they'll arrive yet, but I hope so. You can find me on so Saturday, by the way, I'll be doing, there is no Brinkwood Saturday, so I'll be doing the Outer Worlds from noon to 3. And Sunday will be Witcher Roads Home. And that's where you can find me, and I'll give you updates. But let's give some love to Hannah Rad, and I will catch you all on the flip side, everybody. Bye.